Before the fame, they were just kids uploading songs online. A few years later, they became the most controversial rappers on earth.
People scared, you had your fans scared a little bit the other night. Tell me what actually went down.
You're referencing the Cheeto thing, right?
The Cheeto Gate, 2018.
One was murdered at 20, one died from an overdose on a private jet. One openly joked about satanic imagery, another was accused of horrifying abuse, and somehow millions idolized them. These are the disturbing secrets behind the SoundCloud rappers who changed music forever.
XXXTentacion was born just say on Froy on January 23rd, 1998 in Plantation, Florida, just west of Fort Lauderdale. He was raised by his mother in the Pompano Beach and the North Lauderdale area. His dad wasn't around much because he was locked up, and his mother was often in no shape to take care of her boy. She mentally abused him. She would sometimes pass him off to others to raise him in her place. Despite this, she would also often compliment X on his looks and dress him up in Abercrombie and Fitch. He loved his mother to bits and always wanted her attention. A man she was dating put her hands on his mom when he was in the 6th or 7th grade, and he attacked the man, biting him while holding a shard of glass.
What's under my eye? It's numb. It says numb. Because I was going through a time in my life where I felt like I couldn't feel shit.
X was a serious scrapper throughout his childhood. While attending Margaret Middle School, he got in such a crazy brawl that he was kicked out of school. His mom kicked him out the house and he moved to Lauderhill to live with his grandma. He had little focus or plans for the future, but he did love music. X would not only listen to the most popular rappers like Lil Wayne, Tupac, and Biggie, but he would also listen to Nirvana, The Fray, 3 Days Grace, and Papa Roach. Taking note of his interest in music, his aunt put him in singing classes, and he spent some time learning the guitar and piano. He also took karate classes and is a big fan of the UFC. He must take notes because for a guy who's only 5'6" and 120 pounds, this kid can fight. Brawling would be a problem throughout his life, and he got kicked out of at least one other school. At one point, he was put into a behavioral correctional spot known as the Sharing House and spent 9 months in a boot camp.
Whoever I beat up, I'm sorry. You feel me? I'm pussy now. I gotta be pussy because I got money.
His formative years weren't all bad news. The kid was swimming in women. He was popular on Tumblr and Facebook and had a line of girls he could get with.
I love fucking females.
Outside of music, chicks, and fighting, he did have one other hobby, breaking into homes and robbing them. In his teens, he racked up a slew of charges, including armed robbery, possession of a firearm, resisting arrest, possession of narcotics, the list goes on and on.
Wow. Well, that's not really BS stuff. That's armed robbery is a real crime. Hello?
His life was rough and tough. He was the target of drive-bys and took a bullet in his shoulder. Music became the only consistent interest in his life and his only hope for a better future. He dropped his first song, Vice City, in March of 2014 before getting sent to a youth detention center for a year on gun possession charges. At the time, he had a big following on Tumblr and Facebook, but that would fall off while he was locked away. The upside while he was in prison? Well, he found a best friend in Ski Mask the Slump God.
Bro, I met him in fucking jail.
On the downside, well, he nearly murdered a man while inside. X's cellmate apparently took a liking to him, never taking his eyes off him. Even in the shower? Yeah. X states that he has no problem with people of any sexuality, but when the man crossed the line, X snapped and attacked him, cracking his head open, and then he started strangling the man. The guards stepped in and X is thankful that they did, because he swears he would have killed the man. His cellmate ended up in ER and X was sent to the hole. Now let's get back to him and Ski Mask. The two had a strong bond, and when X told him he had been making music, Ski Mask wanted in, so they began discussing their future post-prison as rappers. When they got out, they were focused, and after they dropped their track X began picking up a fan base once again. Distorted sound created with minimal equipment mixed with his taste for diverse styles of music quickly began bringing in a huge number for his SoundCloud account. Today, tracks like Skin, Teeth, Riot, Tummy Tuck, and I Love It When They Run all clock in millions of plays. But while his career was on the rise, X would have to contend with more legal trouble. In July of 2016, X was arrested on charges of robbery and assault with a deadly weapon. You gotta imagine that he might have been a little bit worried that his career would die out a second time with him unable to make music, but the complete opposite thing happened. Word of his incarceration drew more attention to his music and his artistry. The hashtag FreeX would be used widely online, and his rare interviews like his sit down with the No Jumper would clock in millions of views.
I got this thing that I call a dagger dick. You can call me Young Dagger Dick, you feel me?
Skinny at the end and really big.
Exactly!
X posted bail set at $10,000, but it wouldn't be long before he would be back behind bars. On October 8, 2016, he was arrested again, this time charged with aggravated battery of a pregnant woman, domestic battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, and witness tampering. While in jail, X would get mixed into the beef brewing between Ski Mask the Slump God and Rob Stone. I've talked more about that in the Before They Were Famous video on Ski Mask and Rob, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, be sure to check out those videos. Another beef X began in jail was with Drake. On January 28, 2017, Drake previewed a track called KMT, which fans believe was a ripoff of X's breakout song Look at Me. At the time, X wasn't too hard on Drake, telling XXL, if Drake is gonna take the flow, and I don't know if he legitimately did, but if that is the situation, at least reach out to a dude, help a dude out in this situation. But after his release from jail, the beef with Drake would escalate. X made bail and would be out of jail on March 26, 2017, but still on probation for his robbery charges. In an interview, he called Drake a bitch and said he felt that KMT was disrespecting him. The following day on Twitter, he posted pictures of Drake's mom, saying she could get it. Drake, of course, denied that he stole X's flow, and at the time of this recording, the beef appears to be ongoing. Following his release from jail, X would have a series of concerts that would turn bloody, beginning with a surprise concert held on April 7th in Miami. With a low admission price of just $5, the venue was filled up before he arrived. When he started performing, a riot broke out, which had to be put down by the police. During a performance in San Diego, X was knocked unconscious by an alleged associate of Rob Stone. A few days later, Rob released a diss track aimed at him called XXXTentacion. June of 2017, X punched an audience member during a concert in Salt Lake City, Utah, according to him, in self-defense. Then a few days later, X was scheduled to perform in Chicago, but cancelled last minute. As a result, hundreds of fans flooded the streets and nearly started a riot. But despite the violence at his concerts, his aggressive feuds with other rappers, and his ongoing legal issues, his fans stayed loyal, enough to secure him the 10th spot on XXL's 2017 freshman class list.
My name is XXXTentacion, and I am a 2017 XXL freshman.
On August 25, 2017, X released his debut studio album, 17, which entered the Billboard 200 chart at number 2, and hit number 1 on the rap and hip-hop charts. Following the release of the album, X held a free concert in Tampa on September 2nd. Over 3,000 people showed up to the venue, which was only large enough for 750 people. The venue canceled the concert over safety concerns. The disappointed fans gathered outside until the crowd was dispersed by the police.
Oh, there's the cops right there. There's the cops right there. Oh, they tear-gassed him for real.
His trial for the domestic abuse charges is scheduled for October of 2017. If convicted, he could face serious time in prison. But no matter how the trial goes, his image and reputation were once again at risk of being tried in the court of public perception. In September of 2017, Pitchfork obtained a transcript of X's alleged victim's deposition and published a grim timeline of the relationship, at least from the reported victim's perspective. According to her deposition, X convinced her to leave her boyfriend to move in with him in late May of 2016. 2 weeks later, she claimed the abuse began, with X breaking her phone and slapping her. Other more salacious accusations, including X threatening to penetrate her with a barbecue implement, beating her with plastic hangers until they broke, locking her in a room for 2 days, threatening to murder her on a nearly daily basis, threatening to cut her tongue, putting a knife to her throat, and repeatedly slapping, punching, elbowing, clocking, choking, headbutting, and tackling her. All that. And some of these things she claims occurred while she was pregnant. The alleged victim snuck out of X's home around 2 a.m. on October 8, 2016 and contacted her ex-boyfriend's mother, who drove her to the Miami Beach police station. Now, of course, all of this is just one side of the story. X has denied the charges in several interviews and pled not guilty. In a recorded phone call that appeared on YouTube in October of 2016, he not only said that she was assaulted by someone else, but also claimed to have evidence that she was not pregnant.
And by the way, for all you dumb fuck-ass niggas that thought this stupid bitch was pregnant, I got the paperwork signifying that she wasn't pregnant. So when I get out, I'm fucking all y'all little sisters in the fucking throat hole.
Regardless, the shocking details the alleged victim has shared in her deposition continue to plague the young rapper. After the Pitchfork article dropped, he took to Instagram to say, "I am not what they make me out to be. You were informed. do not be blind. He would later continue to post about the topic between September 11th and 12th, in part writing, "I will not have fabricated stories pushed on me and have people trying to make me submissive off some shit I ain't do. I'm good." He would go on to say via video post, "Everybody that called me a domestic abuser, I'm a fine domestically abused, y'all sisters pussy from the back. If you want your pussy domestically abused, hit my line. X, I would like you to leave my sister alone, just for the record." Since then, X has gone on to delete everything off of his Instagram page, except for one picture of him sporting a brand new look. He's dyed his dreads gray and is sporting a new forehead tattoo of a tree. Also, he shaved off his eyebrows.
Isn't it clear I don't give a fuck?
If you feel as if your physical identity has to be the same as everyone else's to be socially acceptable, you're stupid. Be yourself.
Juice WRLD was born Jared Higgins on this and all of it.
I went through anything from the Beatles to like Skrillex.
Jared's wide range of tasting. That's what I meant to say.
Is this my package?
Okay. Alright. Well. Let's move on. Now, Jared has never minded being around the time those drugs started getting shoutouts in rap. And well, more people started taking them. Stay off the Xans, kids.
I would tell myself to stay as far away from drugs as possible.
Jared would freestyle with his friends on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Here with the song Lucid Dreams, Juice WRLD.
The official music video for the guys about our friends' candy pens? Because it looks like it's getting a little smoky in there. We all heard of candy pens, right? Well, if the name doesn't ring a bell, I got a feeling you've seen them before. Candy Pens was named Best Vaporizer of 2018 by High Times due to its combination of popular technology and flashy design. And Candy Pens, well, they've quickly become the go-to choice for vaping in the hip-hop and rap community. They've got co-signs from DJ Khaled, Fatboy SSE, Young M.A., and Amber Rose. In fact, A$AP Rocky, well, he's got his own line called the Flacco Jody Collection. And Amber Rose, well, there's reasons there's billboards of her over Los Angeles promoting her own signature line. That's because she works with Candy Pens just like me. Now, Candy Pens, they are for those 18 years or older. And seeing as I'm the official YouTube ambassador, meaning I can just do this and you're gonna watch. Oh, that was a good one. Anyway, well, they've given me the ability to get you 25% off your entire order during checkout. There's a link down below. Use the promo code BTWF25. Now I'm gonna flip this, catch it, and look real cool. Oh, I went backwards. Fuck. Lucid Dreams, wow. Lil Peep was born Gustav R. on November 1st, 1996. Although Pitchfork claims that he originally hails from Pennsylvania, Gustav spent the majority of his childhood growing up on the South Shore of Long Island, New York, in what he affectionately calls the shittiest fucking suburbs ever. Lil Peep's mother is of Irish and German descent, while his father is of Swedish and German ancestry. His mother teaches first grade. His grandfather is a professor at Harvard, while his father is a professor at Hofstra. Gustav grew up with an older brother and both parents until he was 14 years old. At that point, his father left the family and Peep hasn't spoken with him ever since. Despite growing up in a family of teachers, Gustav was never particularly interested in education. His high school had a closed campus, so to cut class, which he did frequently, Gustav hopped on a 20-foot fence and ran from the school's on-duty security guards. On top of hating class, Gustav didn't like his classmates. He told Fader, "They were like the stereotypical high schoolers from the movies. It's hard to find people you fuck with."
Yeah, I dropped out.
After Gustav dropped out of his high school but continued his education through a computer course that required only a single essay a week, his mom usually ended up writing them for him, but eventually he got his diploma. During this time, Lil Peep spent a lot of time alone in his room listening to punk and rap music. He suffered from depression and suicidal thoughts and continues to battle these issues today. But according to him, the internet and underground rap circuit saved his life. Gustav got into listening to underground acts on SoundCloud and YouTube, which inspired him to try doing it himself. He bought a $200 microphone and started to record directly on his MacBook, the same computer he uses today. And for production, he uses GarageBand. Wow. While he originally created his YouTube account back in 2013, his oldest video still available on his channel is from 2016, and his oldest SoundCloud song dates back to 2015. That year, he was 19 years old, so his earliest self-produced songs have likely been wiped from the internet. As of right now, the oldest available song is Veins, produced by Grief. But a few months after posting his first song online, they began to receive thousands of plays. This was the first glimmer of hope for Gustav that he may have a future in music. As for school, that wasn't going so well. He enrolled at an online local community college, but needless to say, it didn't hold his interest. He dropped out after a single semester. The only thing really holding his attention was his budding music career, as he told Pitchfork. School was forced the whole time, now it's apparent that it was never very necessary. To pursue his ambitions, Lil Peep moved out to Los Angeles, hoping to pay his rent with his SoundCloud rap career. He had a dozen roommates in his apartment in Skid Row, but still his music wasn't paying the bills, which forced him to return to Long Island. But before long, he'd be returning to LA, where he would continue to reside until very recently with his girlfriend Layla. In 2015, Lil Peep dropped his first two mixtapes, Lil Peep Part 1 and Live Forever, and his extended play Feels. 2016 would see the release of 4 new EPs, Vertigo, California Girls, Teen Romance, and Castles, as well as 2 mixtapes, Cry Baby and his breakthrough project, Hellboy. By this time, he had teamed up with artists Jay Green and Ghostmane to form the Schema Posse Collective. They had begun working together while Peep was still in high school, but in April of 2016, the group disbanded after a public breakup via Twitter. After this falling out, Lil Peep would join Goth Boy Clique with artists like Lil Tracy, Cold Heart Doves, and JP Dream Thug. In 2017, Lil Peep would drop Castles 2 and move to London, England, where he finished work on his debut studio album, Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. The album was dropped that year and features some of his most popular songs like Problems, Awful Things, and Ben's Truck. In August of 2017, Peep came out as bisexual on Twitter. Today, Lil Peep maintains a close relationship with his mother, although she hasn't seemed to be able to keep him from doing drugs like cocaine, Molly, heroin, and Xanax.
I woke up with these tattoos. It says Get Cake, Die Young. I woke up with it. I had no idea I had even got it. I was so fucked up.
Still, he remains a productive artist with, I'm sure, much more music in the works.
Jordan Terrell Carter, aka Sir Cartier, aka Cash Cardi, aka the J Electronica of mumble rap, was born in Atlanta, Georgia on September 13, 1996, which is the exact same day that Tupac died. If that doesn't already make him a legend, then I don't know what would. He grew up in the suburb of Riverdale, and not the one from the TV series.
I dropped out in the 4th grade to run drugs to support my nana.
The neighborhood is just south of the Atlanta airport and has a population of over 15,000 people, but it was number 9 on a list of the top 10 worst suburbs in Atlanta, so it might not have been exactly the life you would imagine. Plus, Cardi always found his way into some trouble. Speaking on his childhood, he tells Complex, "When I look back at being young in Atlanta before this music, I just laugh. My ma couldn't tell me shit. Nobody could tell me shit."
Had to get up that, the inspiration was to get up out of Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? And when I do go back home, have my shit together.
Jordan grew up listening to a pretty diverse group of artists from Lil Wayne, Lil Jon, Michael Jackson, Prince, Young Jeezy, Kanye, Frank Ocean, and of course A$AP Mob, but Currency was his favorite rapper. And every day Jordan's older brother would drive him to school blasting Gucci. But he was also inspired by people outside of rap.
People that inspire me on my swag are not even rappers, more just you know, rock stars, actors, billionaires. You know, even females inspire me.
Cardi rapped for the first time when he was a young kid at his grandma's house. The family loved it so much that they threw dollars at him and let him know that he had to keep going. Jordan attended Riverdale High School with former alumni including T.I. and Sierra, so he had some pretty successful people to look up to. Before music was his ultimate goal though, Cardi had high hopes with his hoop dreams. In high school, he joined the basketball team and idolized players like Michael Jordan, T-Mac, Vince Carter, and his favorite player of all time, Allen Iverson.
Going like it was really hoop life with no rap. Like I was really on the court balling, like really balling, been balling.
But after not liking to show up to practice like his favorite player and getting into a fight with the coach, he quit the team.
I was trying, you know what I'm saying? I was trying to make it out, you know, like everybody was, but you know, when I got older, you know what I'm saying? Like I got into what I got into, you know, and then I ended up rapping, you know what I mean?
So Jordan needed a new hobby, and his friends already knew how good he was with words, so they told him he should try writing some verses. He decided to go for it. At first, Cardi was rapping under the name Sir Cartier. He made some songs on GarageBand, and even though he was just fooling around at first, his classmates knew that he had potential. And while he was not focused on college, his parents saw music as an exciting departure from what he could have been doing in the streets instead. And Cardi's early music was good. In fact, it was so good, one of his friends asked Jordan if he could come over one day to record with local producer Ethereal. And Ethereal was very selective with who he worked with, so he must have seen something special with Cardi. When him and Ethereal met for the first time, Jordan asked for some unique beats rather than the usual trap style, and they both decided that they were going to create some timeless music together, and they did just that. Their first song together was called Lost. Fat Man Key was also another early supporter of Cardi, and together they all worked on developing a sound.
Was your music exactly what it is now? Has it evolved? Take us through it.
I feel like it evolved. It was the beginning of how it sound now, and I feel like people was just like, you know, whoever didn't rock with it then it just had it, you know, like, oh, this is different, huh? You know?
Cardi decided that it was going to be music above all. That included work and school. In fact, he almost didn't graduate because he was skipping classes so frequently. He did end up graduating, but he also graduated to new levels with his music, which included a new name. He dropped the Sir and created Playboy Cardi.
I got 2 locations, home, studio.
Around this time, Cardi was experimenting with flows and sounds, even rapping over the startup music from PlayStation 2. Cardi caught the attention of Father, who started Awful Records, and they liked him so much that they brought him aboard to help him develop his sound. It was Cardi's song Broke Boy that started making some waves online. The song was produced by Mexico Dro and now has almost 40 million plays on SoundCloud. Fetty is another early song that took off for Cardi. Cardi's first job was bagging groceries before beginning to work at H&M.
I don't want to work here no more. Just coming to the job. Princess, look, like this, like, yo, you Cardi? Yeah, bro, that song you got fire. How long you been working here? That shit don't sound right, bro.
People were really gravitating towards him from some of his early online work, and 4 days into the job, he realized that he had to quit to focus on making music. Cardi immediately left his hometown for the Bronx, New York, where he stayed out there with family. It was in NY that he became cool with one of the members of the ASAP mob, ASAP Bari, who took him under his wing. Cardi also became good friends with Ian Connor after the two linked over fashion. And Ian didn't even know Cardi rapped at the time, but it was Cardi's relationships that would help lead him to the right places.
You know, I hang around like OGs or older people who know, you know what I'm saying? And I take that and run with it. And the people I got in my circle, I just, you know what I'm saying, pass it on. And we all grow together.
It all led up to him connecting with Rocky during South by Southwest in 2014. He told Complex, "I met Rocky at this house party and it was crazy. He told me he effed with me, bro. And after he said that, I was like, I gotta get out of here and get my swag up. It was lit. There was a bunch of bitches everywhere. It was life. The life I wanted was in the house right there."
And what was the first meeting like? Was it an office building, someone's house?
With some bitches.
At a bar or in a house? What was it?
It was just with some bitches, me and Flacco. That was the meeting.
Cardi felt like the connection between him and ASAP was so powerful that he decided to stay in Texas for a while and hang around Rocky.
You see this? Rocky gave me this, babe. You know what I'm saying? No man came to us to get lunch. I'm blessed. I'm supposed to be here.
With Cardi's buzz building from his online singles, he locked into the studio while the world awaited the release of his debut mixtape. But after dropping snippets and fans loving what they heard, no official release came. While fans not so patiently waited for him to drop new music, his rabid fan base created an unofficial mixtape called In Abundance, which ended up getting close to 450K plays on DatPiff. And I think most recently, one of his unofficial songs hit #1 on Spotify's top 50 chart. So the fans, if you're watching this and you're a Cardi fan, you guys are legendary. Shout out to you.
Honestly, yo, I didn't come in the game trying to make a mistake.
But also give the man time to release his music on his own time. ASAP Rocky, who had been standing alongside Cardi and heavily repping for him during the wait, announced that Cardi had officially signed a deal with Interscope. Cardi returned with Woke Up Like This and Lookin', which held fans over until the official release. He began to be seen more in public though, doing good music pop-up shows, appearing in the Yeezy Season 5 fashion show, and modeling for Drake's OVO summer clothing line. I don't know why I said clothing line like that. Clothing line. Finally, on April 14th, 2017, Playboy would drop his self-titled mixtape, which hit #6 on the US rap charts and 12 on Billboard's Hot 200. Cardi also connected with producer Pierre Bourne, and they created magic together. Magnolia was one of the songs on the tape, and it was also the one that took off.
When I made the song, it was more so like during the time I was, you know, I wasn't in the studio dancing. It was more so like That's the move.
Also, let us know in the comments down below if you want us to do it before they were famous on Pierre. At first, Cardi couldn't even do the Millie Rock, but the song peaked at number 29 on the Billboard Hot 100 and took over the summer with everyone dancing to the song, which later went 2 times platinum. Since then, Cardi's continued to grow his sound, his live performances, and he keeps dropping hits. His most recent album, Die Lit, even became one of the most referenced albums on Twitter over the past year as fans await the next project.
What I mean by die lit is more so just like whatever you do, man, just do that shit to the fullest.
Exactly.
Because you never know when it could be over, and you ain't gotta be dead for it to be over.
Yeah.
As for the only people allowed to critique his work, Rocky and Uzi, and that's it. So don't be hating unless you're one of them. And we're still waiting for those songs with Frank Ocean.
Man, we did like 5 songs in. You know, it's Frank, you know, so he move how he move. You never know where he on, so.
Where are these songs at?
Well, they
with him.
I'm patiently waiting for those because Frank is one of my favorite artists ever. And I feel like Cardi's just one of those guys that nobody hates. Like he's just all around a cool dude. Plus him and Uzi probably have thousands of unreleased songs, so hopefully we get those soon as well.
Yeah. That's all. You know,
I ain't gonna lie.
we what you call a mumble rapper. Just yeah. So you say yeah after everything and make it rhyme. It don't matter what it is.
I came in the game making happy songs. Life just hit me, and that's what happened. I'm smirking because it's funny now, but it's not funny.
Lil Uzi Vert was born Samir Woods in North Philadelphia on July 31st, 1994, where he grew up in the Francisville neighborhood. When Uzi was still young, his parents separated, so he would bounce between his mother and his father's homes. Now, although he grew up in a rough neighborhood, he got used to things pretty quickly. Besides, he always avoided getting into trouble because he didn't like leaving the house very often. Now, while hanging out inside, Uzi, he was a big fan of playing video games like Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX, and he loved to watch cartoons including Rugrats and Cat Dog. That's before he fell in love with anime, and if you listen to his music or you take a look at his cover art, well, the amount of anime influence, it definitely shows. But eventually, Uzi, he started to spend more time outside after a friend of his named Elijah, he introduced him to skateboarding. And when he was 12 years old, Uzi's dad, he got him and his brother a 4-wheeler to start riding. And while his little brother did crash it once, well, nobody got hurt. And to this day, well, Uzi, he still likes to ride. Everyone knows this video.
Damn.
Y'all know how I ride?
We gotta go.
What's up?
Bye! Now, in terms of early musical influences, well, Uzi's first ever CD was Mike Jones's album, and his grandma later bought him Wanted by Bow Wow. Then he started getting into Meek Mill and Wiz Khalifa, and he says that Wiz is actually his favorite rapper, and the two are actually good friends now. But Uzi's biggest influences were not rappers. He fell in love with emo, punk music like Paramore, My Chemical Romance, the All-American Rejects, and Gigi Allen. But the biggest influence on his style, his attitude, and his music was actually Marilyn Manson. Now, one day while he was watching Celebrity Deathmatch on TV, well, he came across an episode that included Ricky Martin and Marilyn Manson squaring off against one another. Now, after Uzi watched that program, he became obsessed with Marilyn Manson, and he dug up absolutely everything he could find on the singer's life. He also downloaded all the Manson files that his computer could store. Now, although his friends at school weren't as big of fans of the singer, and Uzi says that he got teased for his different taste in music, well, he didn't care. He became infatuated with the singer's life and still cites him as one of the biggest influences of all time.
My father, the Pale Emperor.
He is?
Listen here. At age 27, I will leave this earth for this man right here.
And while Uzi, he didn't immediately pick up a guitar and join a rock band or paint his nails black, well, he did experiment with different instruments. He played the trumpet in his school's band and cites Hot Cross Buns as the first song he ever learned how to play. But he wasn't trying to become a successful trumpet player. He only joined the band to help get his grades up.
Trumpet at my school.
You was nice?
I mean, I did it so I wouldn't be in trouble.
That you in the school band?
Slick for a little bit, but then like it ain't work out my grades.
After the trumpet phase was over and he stopped listening as much to early 2000s emo, well, he found the music of A$AP Rocky, Pharrell, and Kanye West's 808 and Heartbreaks, which he says changed his life. Now today, Uzi, well, he can be spotted shopping alongside Kanye West. Now, I guess Kanye is very family orientated because the first time he talked to Uzi on the phone, well, he told him that he was not only happy for him, but for his family. Because, well, the kid is something special.
Now Uzi wasn't only a band member, but he was also a class clown who loved attention from his classmates in any way, shape, or form. But he always was an outsider who never quite fit in with his peer group. He dyed his hair in the 10th grade and he got girls in high school. Now it wasn't until his senior year of high school that Uzi would find the thing that would change his life forever and give him the attention that he was looking for. Now Uzi's friend William Aston, he dropped a remix to Chris Brown's popular song Look at Me Now, and when their classmates caught wind of the rap, well, they went crazy and they showed Williams more love than Uzi had ever received in his life. Now Uzi, he saw how the girls were looking at his friend and the attention he was getting from making music, and he wanted some of that for himself. So Uzi, he told William, I can rap too. And that was a lie at the time. Uzi had never thought about rapping a verse until that moment. Will, he called his bullshit and told Uzi to rap for him. And after making up excuses and pushing it off, well, he finally penned a verse to spit for his friend. Now Will was impressed and he invited Uzi to the studio. Now from there, the two, they began to create songs together, and at the time, Uzi, he was rapping under the moniker Stakedown Vertical as part of the Stakedown crew with William. Now the vertical part of his name, it was in reference for vertical jumps, which was a metaphor for reaching the top. Now people, they started to call him Vert, but the name we know him by today, apparently it came from some random dude who Uzi, he didn't even know. Now the dude heard Uzi rapping and he said, wow, you rap fast, like a machine gun or something. Like a Lil Uzi. And just like that, the legend of Lil Uzi had begun. Now he started posting songs onto a newly created SoundCloud page under his new name, but his songs, they weren't really doing numbers at first. In fact, he said for the first few songs, well, barely anyone would listen. But then one of his songs, it went from 150 plays to 1,000, and from 1,000 to 3,000, and him and his friends, well, they were ecstatic. He told Complex in a 2015 interview that just that couple of thousand felt so crazy. Just being at home, even 1,000 people listened to your song. He would find beats on YouTube and record freestyles over them. The first song, still up on his SoundCloud page, is titled In the Field Freestyle, which is from 6 years ago. But Uzi's slow SoundCloud climb coincided with the decline in his grades at school. Now he was failing and getting into trouble, even having to move schools at 4 different points over the course of his high school career. In fact, Uzi was getting into so much trouble that his mom, she actually threatened to kick him out of the house if he didn't step up his grades and stop focusing on rap. Now Uzi, he told Complex about this time period where he stated, I'm already popular in my city, I was just trying to get rich. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really want to go back to school. I mean, my family was mad about that because, you know, you tell your family you want to rap and they look at you like you're crazy. But Uzi believed in himself and knew that his music would be heard by the right people if he continued to release it. He dropped the project Purple Thoughts Volume 1, which included production from Space Ghost Perp, a man we've never done a Before They Were Famous video on, which we should have done, or perhaps we should do a Where Are They Now? Anyway, finally Uzi started to catch the attention from the people who could change his life. Now he and William, they caught the ear of DJ Buzzworthy with their music, who offered to manage the two. Now William, he declined, but Uzi, he said he was looking for any way to not have to go to school anymore. And he just wanted to make some money off music real quick, so he accepted. Now Buzzworthy, he introduced Uzi to Charlie Heat, who produced the 2014 track Uzi. Now while Uzi was working on that song, he was unknowingly working on a song that would get his music heard by all even more powerful people. Now that song, it made it into the hands of DJ Diamond Cuts from the Philly radio station Power 99. Now Uzi's manager at the time was Diamond Cuts' fiance, who sent her the track. She liked it so much that she played the song on the radio in Philly, which was a huge moment for Uzi at the time. And while his record was spinning on air, well, it just so happened that the mixtape legend Don Cannon, well, he was in Philadelphia at the time, driving around listening to Power 99. Cannon called Uzi and loved the music so much that he came back out to Philly to meet with him. Now Uzi, he kept going to the studio and perfecting his craft, and said one day, when he went to the studio alone, well, DJ Diamond Cuts was there.
I go to the studio, I go in there, they like what they hear, so they interested in working with me. I start working, it was from there.
ASAP Yams was another artist to give Uzi an early cosign. He told Uzi that he would be a star one day, and the two, they began to talk on the phone about music and life on the regular. RIP to Yams. Now we have done a Before They Were Gone video on Yams, but I think that one could use an update. In 2014, Uzi, he started dating stylist, designer, and artist Brittany Bird. Now his love life, it was great, his music career was taking off, and he had all the right industry contacts for a successful music career. But Uzi's mom, she still wasn't impressed. Now she told him that he would have to find a real job. And Uzi, well, he wanted to make his mom happy.
She didn't, I don't know, she just imagine, she don't know no rappers. So she that he about to become a rapper. She ain't believe it.
It was then that he started working as a stock boy at Bottom Dollar. Now he did quit after 3 days, but hey, at least he kept his word and he found a real job. But apparently that still wasn't enough for moms, because she kicked him out of the house. Now at this point, with nowhere to go, well, Uzi, he ended up living with his grandma in her nursing home apartment where he would work on his music. Now his grandma, she liked his music and said that he could work on his mixtape while staying with her. Now when Wiz Khalifa was on his Under the Influence tour, well, they had to stop in Pennsylvania. So Lil Uzi Vert, he showed up.
What it is, you already know Lil Uzi Vert. I know I'm rocking with hip-hop since 1987. Always on there, boy. Just out here chilling, enjoying the Under the Influence tour.
A young Uzi came to the show to meet with DJ Drama, who got put onto his music through Don Cannon. Now apparently when the two first met, well, Uzi said that Drama, he was looking at him funny. So the first thing he ever said was,
Why are you looking at me for like that? Why you playing with me?
The two instantly clicked after that, and along with Don Cannon, well, the team had a lot of faith in the kid from Philly. So they brought him out to Atlanta to record, where they worked on his upcoming mixtape, The Real Uzi. Now his big break was when Uzi had a standout feature on DJ Carnage's single, WDYW, in 2015, featuring A$AP Ferg and Rich the Kid. Now Uzi's energy and new flow over the hard mix of EDM and trap, well, it came as a surprise to many fans who were unaware of his music. Uzi inked an official record deal with Cannon and Drama, signing to Generation Now, later signing on with Atlantic Records. Now finally, it was all coming together for Uzi, and he put out the project Love Is Rage, which garnered him even more buzz. Fun fact, the LUV, it not only represents love, but it's also an acronym for Lil Uzi Vert. Now Uzi, he also was featured on the intro to Young Thug's Slime Season 2, which gave him a big push to new audiences. Now Thug and Uzi, they became very close, and Thug was calling him the next up. Now Uzi said that he learned a lot about flowing from Thug, and that he taught Thug things as well. Now Uzi, he kept releasing heat, putting out Lil Uzi Vert vs. the World, and things started to move fast when then he became a XXL freshman alongside Lil Yachty, Kodak Black, and 21 Savage. 2016 was a big year for Uzi as well. He released the Perfect Love tape, including the smash Do What I Want, which is close to 70 million plays on SoundCloud. He also appeared on the last verse of the Migos' #1 hit, Bad and Bougie, which made people feel like Takeoff, well, he got left off Bad and Bougie. It also became the biggest song of the year. He also dropped a collab project with Gucci Mane called 1017 vs. the World, which according to Uzi was created within the span of just 2 days. And Uzi says that his favorite mixtape so far. Now unfortunately, during all of these highs, well, he was dealing with a breakup from his longtime girlfriend Britney. After that, Uzi, he went on tour at the weekend for the European leg of his Starboy tour. Now while in London on tour, he previewed the song he wrote about his breakup, and when he released it, well, he named it XO Tour Life, paying homage to the Weeknd's XO brand. And while the song didn't reach the masses right away, well, his core fan base loved it, and over the course of the next year, well, more and more people caught on to Uzi's wave. Once radio started playing it and the world caught wind of Uzi's talent, well, it was all over. The song went 7 times platinum in the US, and it won the award for Song of the Summer at the MTV VMAs. He followed the success of that song up with his debut label album, Love Is Rage 2, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 hip hop and R&B charts. It seemed like Uzi was reaching new levels with his music and becoming the rock star that he'd always imagined for himself. He was unanimously considered to be one of the best new artists, even being nominated for Best New Artist at the Grammys. To celebrate his success, he bought his grandmother a house to thank her for the role she played in his success, and he also bought himself his first car, which just so happened to be a Lamborghini. Then he began to work on the follow-up to the success of Love Is Rage 2 and T snippets from the album he was calling Eternal Take. But it was in January 2019 that Uzi, he made an announcement that left fans scratching their heads. In an Instagram story, Lil Uzi Vert, he announced that he was retiring from music. Crazy. He stated, "I'm done with music, I deleted everything, I want to be normal. I want to wake up in 2013, thank you, love you." Now Uzi was suffering from label troubles, and it seemed like he was being held back from releasing music. Enter Jay-Z, who signed Uzi to a management deal with his label Roc Nation. And while we can't be sure if that was the reason we would be hearing new music from the Philly artist, well, we saw him release Free Uzi and Sanguine Paradise shortly afterwards. And while Uzi said that at first he was only rapping for money, well, it turned into him loving the attention that comes with being a mega successful artist. And he just hopes that people, well, they keep paying attention. I think it's safe to say that Uzi, well, he's gonna be a megastar for many years to come.
Yeah, man, so fuck school, but you stay in school though. You stay in school because it's the best option for you.
Young Boy Never Broke Again was born Contrell Deshaun Gaulden on October 20th, 1999 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, making him just 19 years old at the time of this recording. Now he lived mainly on the north side of town at 38th and Chippewa Street to be exact, a location he used for his music video for What You Gon' Do, and his younger brother NBA Ken, he also played the role of a younger young boy in the video. Make sense? Right. Yeah, that's it. He's also got an older sister who would beat him up when he was a kid, causing him to hate women for a little while. That certainly changed. Now his mom, she would also give him a whooping at her house out in Scotlandville, and he was also getting into some wrestling brawls. Yeah, like the other kids, they would wrestle too hard, and it resulted in him when he was only 4 years old breaking his neck. Yeah. Now to recover properly from the injury, he was put into a halo brace, which that was screwed into his head. And that's why he's still got them visible scars.
This from a halo, you know, the little thing with the screws in your head. I broke my neck when I was 4. I was wrestling.
Now with his sister being a bit of a bully and his mom giving him a whooping from time to time, well, he decided to live with his grandma because she would spoil him. Now I decided to look around the internet to see if I could find his mom and sister. I think I found them on Instagram.
Y'all down talk my motherfucking blood. Y'all don't give a who you is. If you're doing something stupid, it's motherfucking stupid.
I really could eat spaghetti let me stop lying. I can eat spaghetti like 3-4 days in a row.
Living at Chippewa on 38th Street, well, his grandma, she was always good to him, she fed him, but they didn't have the finer things in life. He described his surroundings as the slums, and he never had fancy clothes or shoes, that is, until he made it as a rapper. Now speaking on where he comes from, Young Boy told Fader, "I come from a rare place, it's a different culture, different atmosphere, police crooked. Different emojis, and when I say emojis, I mean personalities." He started writing at the age of 7, completing his first song in the 1st or 2nd grade, which was titled For a Reason. Now his mom, she had also once upon a time been a rapper, and this inspired him that he could do it himself. By the age of 11, he knew that's all he ever wanted to be. When he was 8, his father was arrested and sentenced to 55 years in prison for a robbery gone wrong. Then his grandmother, well, she passed away from heart failure in 2010. Now this left young Contrell pretty much having to, take care of himself. And he would stay at a friend's house. Now his first job was cutting grass around the neighborhood, and he would hang out with a number of childhood friends who he's still close with today. This includes 3-3, Lil Ben, and Boomer. Now these dudes would do whatever they could in order to make a quick buck. This included stealing car batteries out of an 18-wheeler and selling them in hopes of paying for time in a studio. Now eventually Young Boy, he would drop out of school around the 8th or 9th grade. He then bought a microphone from Walmart, he downloaded recording software, and he started making songs himself. It was around this time that he came up with the moniker of NBA, which is an acronym for Never Broke Again. But his rap career, well, it would still have to wait a little longer.
I ain't no hiding from gun violence. I ain't no hiding from violence, period. It's either jail or death like Lily.
He was eventually arrested for robbery and sent to juvie. He was then given a 6-month sentence in Tallulah, Louisiana, and it was here that he started taking his songwriting very seriously. Now one of his key musical influences at the time was Lil Fat, and he wrote song after song to pass the time. Now these would come together to form his first mixtape, Life Before Fame, which he dropped in 2015. Now his friend's mom, Monique, she actually helped pay for the studio time at Stroke Studio or Gus Studio for the project that would eventually change his life. Now a string of other mixtapes followed, including Mind of a Menace, Mind of a Menace 2, and Before I Go. Then Young Boy attracted major attention with his October 2016 drop of the mixtape 38 Baby, which the music video has since gone viral. It currently sits at 85 million views on YouTube at the time of this recording. But the kid wasn't done just yet. Just 1 week later, he dropped another mixtape titled Mind of a Menace 3. But then, a month later, in December of 2016, he was arrested on suspicion of attempted first-degree murder in connection with an alleged drive-by shooting. Now, before we get into all that, I need to take a second to tell you guys about my friends at Candy Pens. Plus, it looks like it's getting a little smoky in here. Now you've all heard of Candy Pens, right? Well, if the name doesn't ring a bell, I got a good feeling you've seen them before. Candy Pens was named Best Vaporizer of 2018 by High Times due to its combination of popular technology and flashy design. They're also becoming the go-to choice for vaping in the hip-hop and rap community. They've got co-signs from DJ Khaled, Fatboy SSE, P&D Rock, and ASAP Rocky. In fact, he's got his own line called the Flacco Jody Collection. Now Amber Rose, she has her own signature line, and there's billboards of her all over Los Angeles promoting the brand. Now remember, Candy Pens, they are for adults 18 years and older, and seeing as I fit the bill, well, they made me their latest brand ambassador. Now they've also hooked me up with the ability to get you 25% off your entire order during checkout. There is a link down below. Use the promo code BTWF25. Now let's get back into this video. It would be over 5 months before he would be released via plea deal, and while locked up, he continued to drop new mixtapes. And then when he got out, well, the kid, he got straight back to work.
Let's get it. Maybex Montana.
When he wasn't locked up or making music, well, young boy, he was a big hit with the ladies, having fathered 4 sons with 3 different baby mamas. Now the children's names are Caden, Cameron, Talon, and Kamiri. He's also made some connections befriending Baton Rouge legend Kevin Gates, Boozy Badass, and he started hanging out with the likes of Meek Mill and Nicki Minaj.
Ass is so big, dude. And I was trying to like look, but not let Meek see me looking. But I don't think he gave a f though.
For a young man or young boy, well, he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. In fact, he stated, "I got effing children. I got a family that depend on me. I got a mama who don't like to work. I got a baby mama that got 3 kids, 2 of them from me. Everybody depend on me. I can't F up. I ain't the only person that I'm hurting. If I was given $1 billion to do life in jail, I'd do it and give that to my fam." Now, luckily, money was just around the corner with him signing a $2 million deal with Atlantic Records. Now, he would go on to collaborate with the likes of Meek Mill, 21 Savage, Young Thug, Boozy Badass, Yo Gotti, and more. He's also, he had to switch up his moniker from NBA Youngboy to Youngboy Never Broke Again due to a certain copyright infringement from the NBA. Lil Durk was born Dirk Banks on October 19th, 1992 in Chicago, Illinois, in the rough and tough neighborhood of Englewood. Now, growing up in those streets is about as bad as it gets. Just ask people like Derrick Rose, Chief Keef, and the late Bernie Mac. Alright, I guess you really can't actually ask him, but I'll let Dirk fill you in for himself with some details. He told Complex. "It was hard growing up, there wasn't a lot of money around, there was a lot of shooting and killing and all that. It's worse now, there was a lot of killing going on as a kid. Took a lot of stuff out of me growing up, it was hard growing up, but I made it." Now, Dirk grew up on these streets with his mom and 2 sisters and 1 brother, and his father, he was arrested and locked up when Dirk was only 7 months old. Now, this left his mother to provide for everyone, working as a nurse. She did what she could, but money was tight.
Mama raised me dolo. All I knew was YOLO. I came from USPA to rockin' regular polo. Tech 9s to JoJo's to bezels, they got 4 rows. Hopping out of photos, shoot up the potty ASAP. Hated school, stay strapped. I can't say I hate rap. Nights I had to play that just to have somewhere to lay at. 2 sisters, 1 brother, 4 empty rooms, no cover. Lean car cut short, she sold it for some G money. I'm here every day with my claiming 300.
Now, this was a tough transition to make. You see, Dante Banks, Dirk's father, he had actually been pretty effective in hustling on the streets. I mean, when they finally caught him, he had 6 bricks of crack cocaine on him, worth around $8 million.
Because you don't really see like people stacking up that amount of money in the streets.
Nah, you don't. But like nowadays, so many people telling, and everybody want to be low profile. But nowadays, you never know. Everybody want to sell drugs. Everybody want to rap. Everybody ain't doing what they supposed to be doing, basically.
I mean, when's the last time you had $8 million on you? Now, Dante, he was a made man on the streets, which meant that his family, they were living a pretty comfortable lifestyle, all things considered. Now, they lived in a nice home and they had everything they could ask for, but when Dante was arrested, well, he refused to name names and he was sentenced to life in prison as a result. Now, his wife and his young family, they had to downsize immediately and move into Dirk's grandma's house, where 10 people lived in a 3-bedroom home. Now, I'd say that's probably a big adjustment, you know what I mean?
We grew up in a 3-bedroom house, really 2. My grandma kept a room to herself. These things hit the couch. I had the floor in the back. It just came from nothing, you know what I'm saying? It came from one house, like 10 people.
Now, Dirk still visited his father as often as he could, but with the patriarch of the family now no longer a factor in their lives, well, Dirk's family, they had to struggle to survive.
Now, food was scarce. A typical meal was something as simple as rice or toast, and that was on a good day. There was a whole lot of time where there was just nothing to eat. Now, at first, Dirk, he took an interest in basketball, hoping that a future in the sport could be a way off of the streets. But his height, it never really caught up with his talent or his desire.
Space it. Go space it. Ready.
Can he hit the layup? Yeah. Now, school was almost always out of the question. He simply didn't have the grades. Now, by the time he was 10, Dirk, he came to the decision that the only way he could possibly make a name for himself was like the way his dad had done it, on the streets. Now, looking for a way to feed himself and his family, Dirk, he started pounding the pavement. But around this time, he also teamed up with a group of childhood friends to form his own rap collective known as OTF, Only the Family. He told Complex. Everybody grew up together from the same block. Everybody knew each other since they were kids. We grew up with each other, and everyone's just got different music styles right now, doing their own thing. Now, growing up, music had always been Dirk's outlet of choice. He tried to escape that everyday worries of his life by listening to the likes of Bone Thugs and Harmony, Rick Ross, and Meek Mill battle raps. While still very much a part of the street life in South Chicago, Dirk decided to diversify his skill set at the age of 17 when he started making music for himself. Now, he kicked things off by working with his childhood friend, Sly Polaroid and King Louie, as well as releasing his first mixtape, I'm a Hitta. Now, he uploaded these tracks to MySpace, where songs like I'm a Hitta and Sneak Dissing, they amassed a whole ton of listens. Now, Dirk was suddenly faced with the prospect of getting his family up and off the streets, and it couldn't have come at a better time because his girlfriend at the time, Nicole Cavone, she had just become pregnant. Now, unfortunately, Dirk, he didn't quite make it. In October of 2011, he was arrested for a DUI and fire possession. Now, he would go on to serve 3 months at Vandalia State Prison. That was before he was released on bond. Now, during this time, he came to the realization that he didn't want his son growing up without a father like he did. Now, he saw the potential that this new career as a rapper could open, not only for him, but also for his family. Once he was released, Dirk, he got right to work. He dropped a new mixtape with Paris Bueller titled I'm Still a Hitta, and he was quickly becoming a living legend on the streets that he grew up on. Now, his numbers on MySpace and YouTube, they were growing steadily, and to celebrate, Dirk, he had another kid. And then another one, and another, and another, and another. Okay, maybe it didn't happen all that fast, but man, he really does have 6 kids. So congrats to him on that. We might have to make a baby mama video on Lil Durk. That's a lot of kids. His 2013 mixtape, Signed to the Streets, it was even included on Rolling Stone's 10 Best Albums of the Year, but that same year, Dirk, he got busted again. Now, this time, Dirk, he was charged with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon, and he was held on $100,000 bond. Now, thankfully, his lawyer, he got to work and he found a witness that testified to the gun not being Dirk's. Now, Dirk was released after spending a little over a month locked up, and per usual, he got right back to work. Now, the next year, he made XXL's freshman class list, and in 2015, he released his first studio album, Remember My Name, which peaked at the number 2 spot on the US R&B and rap charts. In 2018, Dirk, he would leave Def Jam and quickly get picked up by Interscope Records. Now, he kept grinding away over the next few years, keeping his nose out of trouble as much as possible. He'd go on to drop 4 more studio albums and close to 10 mixtapes, including 2019's Love Songs for the Streets 2. The next year, he released Just 'Cause Y'all Wanted To, which climbed even higher to the number 2 spot. Now, in 2019, Dirk, he had a bit of a run-in with the law again, but if you want to know the full story on that, we actually made a video titled After They Were Arrested. So let's just roll a quick clip. Dirk, he's become the latest rapper to be arrested in what appears to be a targeted effort against hip-hop artists here in 2019. Now, we can't say for sure that there's some kind of hip-hop police that exists nationwide, but the New York Post, they reported that the NYPD's Enterprise Operations Unit, they secretly planted over 20 plainclothes cops to patrol Remy Ma's March 2018 performance at Irvine Plaza.
My name is Beyonce. No, I'm just playing. It's Ski Mask, the Slump God. That's about it.
Ski Mask the Slump God was born Stokely Clavon Goulbourne on April 18, 1996 in Broward County, Florida. He's of Jamaican descent and grew up with 4 siblings in Fort Lauderdale, where he would bounce between his mother and father's homes. He doesn't exactly know how to describe his birthplace, but says where he grew up definitely wasn't the suburbs. He says he had both of his parents around, but they weren't totally there for him. At one point, he was even kicked out of his home. He was always getting into trouble and said when he wouldn't behave, his parents would even...
If I was bad, they would shave my head bald and then take my good shoes. I'd have like Bobos, like I'd have some And-ones. I'd go to school with some And-ones, brother, and get made fun of.
I was personally a big fan of the Vince Carter era And-ones, But then again, I never had to go to school after getting my head shaved. So, but I did buzz my own hair one year and I thought I was pretty hard. So I'm gonna be real, I was about as soft as they come.
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ski Mask says all of the girls growing up were into his dad and they were always excited when he would pick Ski Mask up from school. Maybe they were just a fan of his raps?
My dad would pull up to my school and all the girls would try to get at him just because he light-skinned as
Music was a big part of his early childhood, with his family always playing classic Jamaican music in the household. On top of that, because of Ski Mask's dad's rap career, he wanted his son to follow in his footsteps. Some parents force their kids to study so they can go to a good college. Others force their kids to rap so they can be a XXL freshman. So when he was around the age of 12, he was pushed to write rhymes.
He would just be like, sit down, write these. I don't want to. No, sit down, write these.
At the time, he hated it, but later he was thankful for the experience and says he wouldn't be where he is today without his dad's help. But he didn't start putting out and recording songs until a few years ago, and says that his first songs were actually trash. He was influenced by many different styles growing up, but says his top 5 rappers are Old Busta Rhymes, Method Man, Old Lil Wayne, Missy Elliott, and Travis Scott. But also listens to genres like heavy metal, indie, grunge, and pop, basically everything except for country. I've got to agree with him there, although I will jam out to a little Zac Brown band here and there. Even with the push from his father, it took some time for his rapping career to become a legitimate option. He honed his skills by freestyling for kids in the neighborhood and writing bars in his notebooks. But speaking of notebooks, he attended Coral Springs High School, where he was kicked out for...
I went to Coral Springs High School and I got kicked out of high school for selling fake lean.
I don't know how that happened or why people thought they were getting high from fake lean, but like J. Cole says, then white boys don't know no better. And I can attest to that, we usually don't. That wasn't the end of his troubles though, because when he was 15, he was sent to Broward Juvenile Detention Center for weed possession after getting caught with only $10 worth of weed. It might have been more, but he took matters into his own hands.
I definitely ate some of the weed, some of it.
But if being arrested and eating weed wasn't enough, nothing makes things easier like being high on shrooms at the same time. Ski Mask said he was so high during the time he was getting arrested that he even fell asleep while they were booking him.
Oh man, like literally it was crazy, bro. Oh, I'm like, they're telling me to write my name. I'm looking at them like, what?
But his time in jail turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because it's in juvie where he met XXXTentacion, who was in for a robbery and gun charge. The two would quickly connect and become friends, and he says there wasn't much to do in jail other than work out or rap, so the two began to rap, banging on tables for beats and practicing their flows. Ski Mask and X formed a collective called Very Rare, which Ski Mask has tatted on his face. The collective still exists, and Ski Mask says when he goes into the bank, he tells the employee he is under Very Rare & Co., and with the amount of money he's dropping in, he probably is in rare company in terms of his tax bracket. Both artists learn from each other though, and about how to better their craft. Ski Mask learned how to be more aggressive with his rapping, and X learned how to loosen up and flow a bit more with his own style. X even gave Ski Mask an extra biscuit or cookie for his birthday spent in jail.
For my birthday, for real, because it's not like they're gonna give you a birthday cake, so.
Real friends. How many of us? The two first contemplated meeting up on the outside to commit crimes together, but luckily they decided to put their creative talents toward a higher purpose of making music. X ordered a snowball mic off of eBay for Ski Mask to rap with and actually recorded his first song for him. The low quality mic and a bad laptop paired with the Audacity recording software is actually what created the distorted sound that made them famous.
So we use distortion in our music. Now, still.
Okay, so it sounded like that originally because of the mics, and then you decided to keep, that's interesting.
His first official song, Cash Me, dropped on SoundCloud in 2015 and garnered some online buzz because of his unique style and flow. He got his rap name from a few things he was doing at the time, and although he says Xanax played a part in the name Slump God, he doesn't take them anymore. At one point, he might even drop the second half of his name.
The extra Slump God adds a pun to making me different, because people can be like, what the f is this? But I plan on dropping the Slump God off of it and just being Ski Mask.
He also recommends that kids not take the drug because it only made him unproductive. The Ski Mask part of his name just represents getting it by any means necessary, but back in Winnipeg, Canada, where I'm from, we would literally just wear ski masks to avoid freezing our faces off. But then again, the place where I grew up definitely was the suburbs. Ski Mask formed a new collective with X called Members Only, which now includes other members like DJ Scheme, Rob Banks, and many more. The duo released their first 2 mixtapes, Members Only Volumes 1 and 2, later releasing a 3rd volume 2 years later. Ski Mask also released his solo mixtape Drown in Designer in 2016, featuring songs like the Lil Pump assisted Where's the Blow and Take a Step Back, which currently has close to 100 million streams on Spotify. Ironically, he went on tour with Designer in 2017, where although he didn't drown, he did get into some rough exchanges. And unfortunately, it wasn't all love on the tour. His music was heating up, but so was his beef with San Diego rapper Rob Stone, who was also opening up for Designer. There are 3 sides to every story, both people's recollections and the truth. So I won't go into full detail because you probably already heard all the reports and this is old news, but the beef that stemmed from few onstage interactions, tweets, DMs, threats, and behind the scenes tour politics resulted in Ski Mask and his crew getting attacked from onstage all the way out to the street. One of Ski Mask's friends got stabbed in the mouth, and Ski Mask said there were 10 dudes punching and kicking him. At one point he could barely breathe. I could barely breathe saying that sentence, but whew. He's also named Timbaland as his favorite producer of all time, and got to live out his childhood dream of working with him on a track after Timbaland's kids became a fan of Ski Mask's music. The two collaborated on Catch Me Outside, a track that is now certified gold.
He went on YouTube, grabbed a sound from an airplane flying, sampled that shit, put it in a beat, made it in less than 30 minutes.
He was also able to work with Busta Rhymes and said that working with his childhood idols and biggest influences have been the 2 happiest moments in his career, and he almost cried both times. They haven't been his only celebrity run-ins though. He even met Nas in a bathroom once.
I met Nas in a Mass Appeal bathroom, and I was washing his face, and I'm sitting there like, what the f? I started tweaking and shit.
But troubles didn't stop for Ski Mask, because in March of 2018, he announced that he would require surgery for a heart condition. He wrote on Twitter, "I stunted my growth and got some type of fat boy disease and have to get surgery over my heart, on my chest. I've been avoiding this since the start of my career, checking it out today with a positive mind, pray for me, smiley face." Prayers do go to Ski. On May 1st, 2018, Ski Mask leaked his own mixtape, Becoming the Book of Eli, on SoundCloud, saying on Instagram, 40K comments on this post and I'll drop the tape on SoundCloud and f my old management. But his management quickly removed the project. It was re-released on streaming services on May 11th, but the label removed certain songs including Ski Meets World, With Vengeance, and Worldwide, which he was not too pleased about. The mixtape peaked at number 50 on the US Billboard 200, but he had a lot of disagreements, considering 2 of those tracks were produced by Timbaland and 1 had an Offset feature.
It just dropped like horribly, like not everything that I was expecting or promised or was told that was happening this way really wasn't like that.
But he's happy he went through it because of the lessons that he learned. Speaking of managers though, him and X had an old manager who was actually a porn star named Bruno Dickums, whose work we can't show on here for ad reasons, but his discography, well, let's just say it had some bangers. They all basically lived in a porn house where porn stars and strippers would be coming in and out of the place, no pun intended, and Ski Mask says some wild things happened in that house.
Accidentally forced me to meet like a lot of famous porn stars and shit. Told me the porn stars he most likely fucked the porn star that she really like. Dead ass. Like I even asked him about the porn stars I was talking about.
He was selected as a part of the 2018 XXL freshman class and surprised a lot of people with his flows.
We had to take a lunch break and had to come back because this dude had to come and snap on the cypher real quick. Had to make me sit down and think about mine. Other than that, it was fire.
He also recently accused Drake of stealing his do-rag style. And although it sounds stupid, the way Drake sports his do-rag in the Non-Stop video is very similar to Ski Mask's sideways style. I just think that do-rag beef is the most hilarious thing happening right now. On June 18th, Ski Mask's good friend XXXTentacion died from gunshots, and it's clear that it's had a long-lasting effect on the rapper. Although the two had their ups and downs, they started in this game together and still had so much left to do musically. Ski Mask posted a pic on Instagram of the late artist saying, 5 fucking months, I still and will never comprehend how to cope. Can't be thankful enough for you still being there with me always. He also paid tribute to X at multiple shows, saying that he hopes to take some of X's energy that still lives within him and give it to the crowd.
With me, or you with X, yo, please do this for me.
After many delays, as I was writing this script, we finally received the track list for Ski Mask's debut album with the iconic cover for Stokely, which includes features from Young Thug, Lil Baby, Lil Yachty, and Juice WRLD. And this is a 13-track album, and although I'm recording this on the 29th, It should be out by the time you watch this. As for what's next, in 10 years he hopes he will be retired. He wants to remove all of his tattoos and follow Childish Gambino's career path, making movies and being out of sight. He has talked a lot about the afterlife and says,
because I feel like I know there's something after this, you feel me? And I feel like that's the best thing I feel like that's what, even though people are scared of death, I feel like that's what is the best thing of what we're waiting for is after death.
He also talks about wanting to make it into the 27 club, but he still has a lot of things to check off his bucket list to complete, like skydiving, bungee jumping, and
I want a cougar that been famous. So she has to be like kind of old. Salt and pepper, brother. Pepper and salt. Where you at? No.
So I hope he sticks around to see his dreams come true, and just because the kid has a lot of potential for long-term greatness. I don't want to see him go. Trippie Redd was born Michael Lamar White IV on June 18, 1999, which makes him a fellow Gemini creative. He grew up on 14th Street in Canton, Ohio, and because of that got the nickname Lil 14, a number he has tatted on his forehead. He said that there was a little group of people who lived on 14th Street who made music together, and that his grandmother still lives on the street to this day.
If you look up 14 Angel or 1400 Angel, like there's really a big ass quote like this long about what the number 14 means and how much, like, it's an angel, bro.
All right, so in classic Before They Were Famous fashion, I did some digging and I found that paragraph. It says, angel number 14 is a sign from your guardian angels that they are hard at work, helping you with a particular problem. Basically, Trippie's got an angel watching over him, giving him powers to speak in the most creative ways possible. Look, I'm big into numerology, so I believe it. And growing up in Canton, he might have needed an angel because according to Trippie, it's the second most dangerous city in America.
Canton, most dangerous small city in America. Well, second.
They call it Canton. What? The Electric City? I looked it up and Canton was actually number 2 on the most dangerous cities in America list in 2014. He says the amount of crime from robbing to gang-related activity is extremely high. And if his word wasn't enough proof, at the time of Trippie's birth, his father was incarcerated, forcing his mother to raise Trippie alone. He says nobody has ever made it out of Canton, except for Marilyn Manson. The singer actually went to church with Trippie's mother.
Marilyn Manson's from Canton, Ohio. He went to church with my mother.
Marilyn Manson in a church? Just seems like a pretty weird visual. But it wasn't all angels and gospel growing up. Trippie got into trouble and has gang affiliations with the Bloods, with the word red in his stage name referring to the gang's colors. But he really hasn't said too much more about that, and to be honest, I don't even want to go any deeper into it after seeing what happened because of Tekashi's affiliations. As for the name Trippie, his friends used to call him Trippie Hippie because of how much he liked to smoke, so he just combined the two words, trip and hippie. Makes sense. Growing up, he never really cared what people thought of him and says he would always dress pretty weird as a kid. At one point, he had a blonde afro. Trippie grew up in a musical home, with his mom always bumping artists like Beyonce, Nas, and Tupac. Trippie did some crate digging of his own to find artists like Lil Wayne, T-Pain, Gucci, Tyler the Creator, A$AP Rocky, Nirvana, and the band Kiss, who helped him appreciate melody. His diverse influences definitely show up in his music, and he says the goal is to do as many songs from as many different genres as possible in his career. It may surprise you, but he says that at the age of 12 or 13, he was actually writing super lyrical raps. Every time I freestyled, it was to impress people with that. Eventually I ventured off of that, but I still do it a lot. It's just not as fun as what I'm doing now.
I try to mix like alternative rock and R&B and rap and all that shit in one. Pop.
The kid can actually spit some bars when he wants to. Trippie's older brother would become a huge influence in his life and career. His brother was pursuing a career in music, rapping using the rap name Dirty Red, later changing it. But unfortunately, he passed away in a car accident in 2014. Trippie has dedicated multiple songs to him, including an old song called Dirty Red, and also has a couple of face tattoos in his honor, including a big scar tatted over his eye. Trippie made it his goal to not only chase after his dream, but to take on his brother's musical dream as well. He started recording his music with his little cousin Nigel at another cousin's house in Canton, creating early songs like Sub-Zero and New Ferrari. The songs have since been deleted from online because Trippie didn't feel like they represented who he wanted to be as a musician. He knew that if he wanted to grow as an artist, he needed to leave Canton.
Everybody is stuck there, but at the same time, everybody wants to leave there. So I'm one of the people that decided, fuck this shit, I'm leaving, you feel me? And I left.
I guess he's now the second person to make it out of Canton. He also met Cody Shane in Atlanta and says that Shane and WAP became like brothers to him right away.
How I met Lil WAP was a fan commented under my shit, his shit, and he was like, go fuck with Lil WAP. And I'm like, Lil WAP, alright.
WAP saw a lot of potential in Trippie and set him up with a studio. Together they recorded projects like Beast Mode, Rock the World Trippy, and Awakening My Inner Beast. Trippy said so many people in Atlanta liked him and his music that he never had to pay for a single studio session. Early on, rapper Lil Twist from Young Money Entertainment heard Trippie Redd and was interested in helping him get signed to their label. But that never ended up happening. Speaking of, do you guys ever wonder to yourself what Lil Twist is up to these days? Yeah, me neither. Even though Trippie didn't get a deal with Young Money, he would later collab with one of his heroes, Lil Wayne. He moved out to Los Angeles and signed with Strange Entertainment, now known as Elliott Grange Entertainment, after a lawsuit from Tech Nine's label, Strange Music. I understand why they sued. The first song he ever put on SoundCloud was called Angry Vibes. The song immediately blew up, gaining over 100,000 plays, and in January of 2017, Trippie Redd released his EP, White Room Project, featuring songs like Trap Star, Purple Vibes, and the hit Love Scars. He got Love Scars tatted on his face before ever writing the song, but after he wrote it, everything started to fall into place. You could say his creativity was guided by an angel. On May 26, 2017, he released the project A Love Letter to You with songs No Smoke and Romeo and Juliet. The same year, he dropped a Love Letter You'll Never Get EP and Love Letter to You 2. On top of that, he was the only feature on the late XXXTentacion's debut studio album 17 on the track Fuck Love. The album hit number 2 on the US Billboard 200, sold 88,000 copies in its first week alone, and their collab has since been certified platinum, being streamed 173 million times on SoundCloud. X and Trippie became friends after a DM conversation, and at one point, Trippie says they were talking every day. They had a short falling out, but ended up making peace before X passed away.
We had just became like super cool friends, and now that's my best friend, I could say.
On December 5th, 2017, Trippie released the song Dark Knight Demo featuring Travis Scott. The song peaked at number 72 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it Trippie's first entry on the chart as a lead artist and is now certified platinum. In 2018, he was also selected as part of the XXL freshman class with other rappers like JID and Ski Mask the Slump God. It was reported that Trippie Redd was originally supposed to be on Drake's God's Plan, according to his DJ. A snippet of the song started blowing up on New Year's of 2018, and Drake put it out before Trippie had the time to finish his verse. His DJ said on Instagram, New Year's gained it too much traction. Trippie only finished half of his verse, so I'm guessing Drake wanted to capitalize off the buzz. As good as I think Trippie would have sounded on it, I don't think the song or the video would have been as big of a movement with him on it. And if Trippie had the second verse, we may never know that Drake's kid's middle name was Mabed. Of course, I couldn't give you an updated version of his bio without at least mentioning some of the beefs that the rapper has encountered over the past couple of years. Most notably, he has been in an internet dispute with rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine, who is currently facing charges that could put him in jail for life.
The people I surround myself with have a reason to be around me. There's nobody around me that's just here to be here.
Trippie and 6ix9ine released their song Pulse 1469 together, which is now gold with the video dropping on YouTube on August 27, 2017, accumulating 121 million views. But once a picture of 6ix9ine leaked online standing behind a 13-year-old girl in bra and panties, Trippie wanted out of their friendship.
I'm sorry, brother. 1400 don't promote pedophiles.
Tekashi accused Trippie of having sex with underage, Miss I'll throw a drink on you, cash me outside, bad baby, but the two quickly both denied that. Trippie got beat up in a New York hotel, allegedly by some of 6ix9ine's crew, and 6ix9ine sort of confirmed it was him.
I don't know what's going on, but I feel really bad about it.
This beef is ridiculous and honestly could have a whole video to itself, but most recently, Tekashi posted a video laying in bed with Trippie's ex-girlfriend.
Yo, babe, look at this
It is fuck 6ix9ine, it's fucking Treyway.
6ix9ine may have won the battle, but it seems like he most likely lost the war. The man is facing up to life in prison and has been indicted for armed robbery and racketeering charges. I hope the two can make up peacefully, but I really have no clue what's gonna happen there. Recently, Trippie dragged himself into a battle between Tory Lanez and Joyner Lucas, which has been very entertaining so far because both dudes could probably rap for 24 hours straight and not get tired. Tory Lanez was on Instagram Live and Trippie jumped in and said, "That's what I wanna see. That's the real beef I wanna see. Kill that dude's beat and make them forget that he even ever rapped on it." And Tory did. He threw shots at Joyner over the Lucky You instrumental. Joyner shot back with a freestyle over Tory and Meek's song Liddy and made the caption, "Let's play at Tory Lanez at Trippie Redd" with a devil emoji. Kanye will tell you anytime someone uses a devil emoji, it's not good.
And then they get mad about a beat and then send you purple demon emojis.
On the track, Joyner poked shots at Trippie, saying, "Me and 6ix9ine had Trippie Redd's bitch on the couch. She was giving us a threesome." And Tory defended him on his Liddy Again freestyle in response, saying, "Dude says he's out here having threesomes with a dude that's in court dealing with the kid cases," referring to Trippie's ex-girlfriend who 6ix9ine claimed to be with and the court case that ended him and Trippie's friendship in the first place. But that's enough of the serious stuff. My absolute favorite beef of the year was between Trippie Redd and none other than the King of Ohio, Mr. Private Jet Shad Moss, aka Bow Wow, who said he was the King of Ohio, where he was born, but he's also been claiming Atlanta as his home for a long time. So Trippie wasn't feeling that and threw some online shots at Shad. I think there was a little bit of a misunderstanding, and I'm gonna leave it because I think Bow Wow deserves to catch a break. The man sold out Madison Square Garden at 13 years old and made Like Mike. So in my books, he can be the king of whatever state he pleases. On June 12, 2018, Trippie was arrested for alleged assault after a dispute in Atlanta, but was later released from jail on the same day as his 19th birthday. On my 19th birthday, I'm pretty sure I was asleep by midnight, but I guess we're just a little different. On August 10th, 2018, Trippie released his debut studio album, Life's a Trip, with production from Murda Beats, Diplo, and Scott Storch. The album debuted at number 4 on the US Billboard 200, selling 72,000 copies first week. And most recently, he dropped A Love Letter to You 3, which includes the single Topanga, a Boy Meets World character who I had a huge crush on in middle school, and the song Negative Energy featuring his longtime friend Cody Shane. In the future, Trippie says he wants to win a Grammy.
I'm trying to do my own shit. I'm trying to win Grammy nominated songs and all type of shit like.
And just like him trying to smoke a blunt through a Gucci mask, everything he's done so far, well, it's worked out.
It worked.
If you want to know Rico's story, well, once upon a time, Rico made moves not doing the same thing as her competition. And now she's popping and counting up money because she's mad rich. And even though she's famous, I know she won't change, but let's back up. Did you get all those song titles? Rico Nasty was born Maria Cecilio Simone Kelly, hope I pronounced that right, on May 7, 1997 in Brooklyn, New York, but when she was very young, she moved to the small town of Largo, Maryland. She told Fader, "Largo has nice homes and black-owned businesses, but it gets rough real fast. From one street to the next, it can change." Rico's mom works for the government in a cybersecurity sector, and her father was actually a rapper himself named Beware, and even went on tour with Jadakiss at one point. Rico says of her father's lyrical ability, "My f***ing dad is like the best rapper alive."
How I got on the radio in my hometown, actually, like my dad is friends with him, and he remembers when I was a little baby, we used to ride around in a radio truck. So music has always been a part of my life.
Her dad doesn't release music anymore, but continues to write to ease his mind. Unfortunately, her dad went to jail for a year when she was just 15, and was then sent back for an additional 2 years. But not before he inspired Rico to perform around the house. When she was 5 years old, she would freestyle a little bit, and she would even get dressed up for her parents and put on little mini shows to Spice Girls, Mariah Carey, and Britney Spears.
I used to say, "Yo, it's MC in the place to be," and I'm rocking the mic with my dad.
Initially, it was her mom that told her to perform poetry, but the poems inspired a love for words, so Rico continued to learn more about poetry and writing. She spent some time in Virginia, but later moved with her mother to the Palmer Park area. She told Complex, "It was almost like you felt trapped, because the world is so big, and when you're raised in the same place, it's like you see everybody else doing the same shit. And you wanna level up and shit, but everyone else around you ain't leveling up." When she was 7 years old, she performed in her school talent show doing a spoken word performance of a Langston Hughes poem. And although she lost in the competition, it inspired her to want to become a famous rapper one day. Due to a drop in her grades, her mom sent her off to a boarding school in Baltimore for high-achieving, disenfranchised students, where she attended the 6th grade. She would bus home every weekend to spend time with her family, but that same year her parents divorced. Rico had trouble dealing with the transition period into a new school, as well as her parents split, which led her to selling weed, skipping school, and eventually she was expelled from boarding school after being caught smoking weed at a campus bus stop. Rico says that she didn't even know how to use a lighter at the time, and not to snitch, but the kid who invited her outside to smoke, well, his name was Martinez. And that's not the only incident of trouble that Rico got in.
I had this one teacher. I don't know what she said to me. I just know I was having a bad day. And I remember I really trashed her class. I low-key threw shit.
Hey, at least she apologized, and now that teacher has a whole bunch of clout.
Sorry, Miss Robinson. Not sorry.
And while she wasn't very focused on most of her classes, Rico loved art class, and she would even skip some of her other classes just to sit in on other art classes. She was so talented with the paintbrush that she was even able to become a TA in art class. Rico returned home to attend Charles Flowers High School, but didn't feel like she fit into the already formed groups at the school, so she became somewhat of a loner. Some of the kids held resentment towards her for leaving to go to private school, and she says she even got bullied for being different. I was like weird on purpose. I wanted to be an outcast. If I knew all this shit was going to be a trend, bro, let's get hella dark. If being weird was cool back then, I would have never had to get these tattoos. I would have never tried to hurt myself. I was so hard on myself on everything. My hair is too short, my hair is too big, I'm too fat. I went through a lot of issues. But she says that if she didn't go through all of that, then she wouldn't be where she's at today. One of the few people who she connected with, though, was her mom's best friend's daughter named Stephanie, who showed her anime, including Fruits Baskets, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and Hello Kitty. She also started listening to metal and emo bands like Slipknot and dressing differently from her peers. She was influenced by listening to bands like Led Zeppelin, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Sex Pistols, Death Cab for Cutie, Pink Floyd, Paramore, and wanted to learn more about all of her favorite artists.
It just made me want to learn more about music, which led me to being a musician.
And the punk sound can definitely be heard in her music. She also says that she was influenced by Kanye West, Bob Marley, Joan Jett, and DMV artist Big Flock. And during some of her darkest periods, she was listening to The Smiths. As for her dream collabs, she said it would either be Rihanna or Juice WRLD. But the first concert she ever attended was a Chris Brown show when she was 10 years old. And she says a young Christopher actually pointed at her. It was in high school that she would start spitting bars though. And the first rap song she ever wrote was actually a diss song.
It's a little bald-headed nah, she really was bald-headed. She really blew the shit out of me. She said I was piss complexion because I'm yellow bone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes.
The track actually almost got Rico suspended from school. The school administration tried to make her take the song off the internet, but she defended it with her freedom of speech, good call. The idea of music came to her in the 10th grade when she was listening to a bunch of different types of music, including what she describes as chill wave songs with no lyrics. So she ended up rapping over those songs to start. She released her first mixtape called Summer's Eve in the 11th grade, and that was also the first music that Rico's father heard of hers. He was recently released from jail after close to a 2-year stay behind bars. She recalls he started crying while listening to her rap, and she started crying watching him get emotional. He told her, "I can't believe while I was gone this wasn't something that I had to instill in you. It was something that you just had. I didn't have to coach you, I didn't have to find you a studio, you just had the hunger to go and record like any artist."
My parents have only been to one show each, and they weren't there at the same time. It was like my dad went to one show, then 2 months later my mom went to one show.
In terms of her mom,
She wasn't happy about me rapping. She was just like, all right, well, look, you can't be a corny ass bitch.
but when she finally heard the mixtape, she actually really liked it. The only thing she told Rico was that she had to curse less. Her first ever show was actually organized by her mom, but Rico's mom told her that she had to promote the show herself, and after not taking the promoting gig seriously, Rico showed up to the venue and there were only 15 people there, and they were all her family.
But when I was up there and I was performing, I didn't care that it was just my family. I was like, fuck it, like,
I once did a performance in front of 5 people and 4 of them were my family, so I know how you feel. She decided that her next show would not be like that. She went home the next morning, started writing, feeling more motivated than ever. Her next show that she threw herself was sold out. At first, her parents didn't believe that she could accomplish the goals she set out to reach, but once she started climbing higher and higher, and as she said, once God started working for her, her parents finally believed in her vision. Rico was taking music more seriously and gaining some support, but right after graduating from high school at the age of 18, Rico had her first child, Cameron. Tragically, the baby's father died before he ever knew Rico was pregnant. Her first tattoo was even in honor of him, replicating a crescent moon and stars that he had. She placed a symbol behind her right earlobe. Rico talks about him on the song Brandon, and in an interview with Stereo Gum, she says, "My boyfriend who passed, we used to sleep together and I would be behind him and he'd have that tattoo. It's just everlasting love to me. Nothing made me happier than me waking up in his house and his mother cooking breakfast, looking at my phone with text messages of my mom telling me, 'Bring your ass home.' Nothing's more reminiscent of those times." After he passed away, understandably, Rico fell into a state of depression and started skipping school. She didn't know what to do with herself and she almost didn't end up graduating. She even stopped making music at one point. I was sad because all the people who used to tell me to dream big started telling me to settle. Eventually, after graduation, she took a job as a receptionist at a hospital, hoping to gain experience in the field with the goal of later becoming a pediatrician. But she told Noisy that being exposed to so much death and illness made her rethink her life's purpose. That question gave her the inspiration she needed to pick back up her pen. When her son was around 10 months old, she started rapping again. She says if she wasn't rapping that she would probably be feeding the dolphins at the aquarium. When she was 19, she started smoking a lot more and says it helps with her creativity. She knew that she needed to provide for her family and felt that rap was her best chance to do so. Alongside her manager Malik Fox, they released her single iCarly in 2016 and the song Hey Arnold a few months later. iCarly started to buzz, and here's an old tweet I found of Rico's where she has 531 followers on SoundCloud when the song reached 10.5k plays within a week. Malik is also Rico's boyfriend and a father figure to her child. After DMing her on Twitter, on their first date, Malik felt Cameron's kicking in Rico's belly.
I feel like any woman in a good relationship, you just feel like you be flourishing and shit. Like he just be loving you so hard and you just be wanting to like live your best life.
She went hard with music, dropping 2 tapes in 2016 called The Rico Story and Sugar Trap, which helped push her name into the mainstream public. But it was her song Hey Arnold that caught the attention of Lil Yachty, who hopped on the remix. The track was blowing up, and she says the two are now good friends and are so proud of each other's accomplishments. In 2017, she released the Tales of Taco Bella EP, inspired by one of her few alter egos. Rico expresses her complicated self through a few alter egos. There's the raging Trap Levine, and her more vulnerable and softer side is the singer Taco Bella. She says it wasn't until she created the name that she started incorporating more melodic sounds into her music. She told Complex that her rap moniker came from Instagram. She used to wear a chain that said Puerto Rico on it to represent her ethnicity, and one day, an unnamed dude who actually deserves a lot of credit told her she smelled bad and passed by her yelling, "Rico Nasty!" on the bus home from school, and that same day she changed her Instagram name to Rico Nasty, and the rest is history. She thought she would change her name before fame, but it all happened so fast that she didn't have time. But in June of 2017, she would reach new heights with her song Poppin', which garnered over 4 million views on YouTube and landed in the lap of Issa Rae, who placed the song on season 2 of her HBO smash show, Insecure. She told Complex, "Like everything else, I have to believe it when I see it. I was like, okay, I'm sure it's gonna be on there, like, what the fuck ever." And then, sure enough, it was on there. She later met Issa, who was actually really excited to meet her too, telling Stereo Gum, "That was like 2 levels underneath Michelle Obama saying hi to me. Like, when we're talking black female role models, she's got her own show that's called Insecure, and it's about embracing your sexuality as a black woman." The song was a part of her mixtape Sugar Trap 2, which also included Key Lime OG, which is Rico's son Cam's favorite song. The tape received critical acclaim, with Rolling Stone placing it on their best rap albums of 2017 list. In June of 2018, Rico signed a deal with Atlantic Records and released her label debut mixtape, Nasty. She says with her first check, she bought her kid a bunch of toys from Toys R Us. She's a good mom. She says since her success, she's gotten lonelier and doesn't have many friends in the rap game.
I don't have enough time for friends. It's crazy because I love friends, but people be texting me and I'd be like, hi, bye.
But to help her loneliness, she recently got a dog named Fish. Wait, what?
I be going through some lonely shit. I be needing something to cuddle.
And there's the answer to your question from the beginning of the video. Rico told LA Weekly that she wants her fans to take from her music, "I want them to gain strength and understand that it doesn't matter what you go through. It's all about what you do with those experiences and how you go forward in life."
Asian to Bratz, I'm probably gonna jump between the 2 names here. Was born in Dallas, Texas on December 7th, 1996. Her real name is Mishran Jamisha Allen. Originating in the Lone Star State, Asian Doll grew up with 3 siblings and a single mother. Raised on Dallas' South Side, her father, reportedly of partial Asian heritage, was in and out of prison during her childhood. In past interviews, the rapper stated that her dad had a lot of money, but when he went away, her family's financial situation turned into a bit of a crisis. While her upbringing was rough and both parents were involved in gang activity, she described her mom as being an OG in Dallas. Because of this status, Asian Doll was able to avoid a lot of drama in the streets. Nevertheless, she has detailed her many hardships in songs such as Crunch Time. Asian Doll's mother at one time was also a rapper, rhyming under the name Killa K. Asian also talked about how everyone respected her mom in the streets, and that made her and her siblings have a lot easier time out there.
She was an OG. She was respected. Everybody respected her. Everybody knew her. You feel me? She didn't take nothing. So it's just like, that's what makes her OG.
She described her mother as having a strange sense of humor as well. Just wait till you hear what her mom dressed up her and her sister for Halloween as. When Asian Doll was just 11 years old, her mom dressed her and her sister up as strippers and her brother as a pimp. My cousin, who was probably in the 6th grade, she had a birthday party and we went to the birthday party dressed like this. That's what makes it even more crazy, because it's like, what the f are we doing at a party looking like this for? It was turned up too, it was crazy. I suppose the awkward Halloween costumes planted the seed for what was later to come, and even in her youth, she was known for her own unique sense of style and described herself as a trendsetter in her neighborhood growing up. It didn't matter how young she was, she would show up wearing a certain outfit, and within that next 2 days, everybody else would be wearing it. Besides being an early influencer, she was also a troubled teen. She has claimed to be associated with the Crips, going by the nickname Mama. In the 10th grade, she was kicked out of high school and was involved in fights with fellow students, getting arrested and put in paddy wagons. For better or for worse, the apple hadn't fallen far from the tree, and she was following in the footsteps of her mom, Killa K. She said, "I never had a job in my life. I'm not even trying to brag, but I really didn't have a job because I thought I was just too fly. And I was always kind of known and shit. So I was just like, what am I gonna do? So I just tried rapping. Tried to be like my mom's." Asian Doll was hanging with friends when one threw on a beat and asked if she could rap the lyrics they wrote. Too nervous to do it in front of them, she got the rest to leave the room while she spit. Taking inspiration from Nicki Minaj, she began recording music in local studios, and things started to come together. She didn't feel the moniker Mama suited her newly evolved rapping persona, so she set out on coming up with a new one. Incorporating her father's partial Asian heritage, as well as her resemblance to a doll, the rapper came up with the name Asian Doll. Kind of fitting, seems like a few of her contemporaries were thinking along the same lines.
What's up with the doll? I mean, what separates you from the other dolls, and why pick Asian Doll as a rap name? Whoa.
I'm really like more authentic, you know what I'm saying? And I want to say I really started the whole wave.
Her school life changed drastically when she began releasing music. She recalls students rapping along to her lyrics and praising her abilities. As a result of her rising fame, she eventually dropped out of high school in her senior year. She does, however, plan on getting her GED. In December of 2015, the rapper released her debut mixtape, Rise of Barbie Doll Gang. The project received traction on SoundCloud, and in 2016, she kept the momentum moving with albums titled Drippin' and Glow, as well as Project Princess Volume 1. During this time, her social media following flourished, and she got the chance to collaborate with other up-and-coming artists in the community. This included artists such as Chicago producer Lil Mister, who soon became one of her most active producers. She also did a song with Philly rapper PNB Rock. Asian Doll also developed a reputation for having a rather mysterious public persona, becoming known for the colorful fashion sense she grew up with. While it did distinguish her from more artists in the game, she drew close comparisons to her idol, Nicki Minaj. She also relocated from Dallas, moving briefly to California, as well as Atlanta. She then planned later to move to New Jersey to be close to the New York industry. In 2017, she released 2 more projects titled Out of Space and Kill Bill Volume 1. As is the case with many hip-hop artists, Asian Doll had become involved in several rap beefs. At South by Southwest in 2017, she engaged in an altercation with a girl known as Bali Baby. Asian Doll stated the incident happened when she heard someone was saying her name at the event. Aside from the fight with Bali Baby, Asian Doll's most high-profile back and forth thus far has been with former friend and fellow Dallas native, Cuban Doll.
We got like 2 songs together. We came from the same city. We grew up together.
You guys grew up together?
I gave her name.
Oh,
you named Cuban Doll.
Yes, I was Asian Doll. I was Asian Doll in 2013. Cuban was, her name was Taylor Blood.
Cause I don't feel like that. I feel like no bitch made me. Nobody gave me my name, Cuban Doll. Cause that's a rumor too. People always say she gave you your name. No, that's a lie. We came up with our own names a couple years back on Twitter. It was just some Twitter shit.
While Asian Doll has avoided chiming in on their turbulent relationship, it has been said that the two have exchanged ugly comments towards one another via social media. In 2018, Asian Doll announced she was signed to Gucci Mane's label, being the first female artist on the label, and the two worked on a joint mixtape.
I ain't no nerdy, I will and she will off dirty.
Lil Pump was born Gazzy Garcia on August 17, 2000.
Yeah, I don't like telling people my age. You feel me? But just know, just say it, bro. Just know that I'm a your no matter how old I am.
Gazzy was born in Miami, Florida, and grew up in Miami Gardens. Now, not a whole lot is known about his early childhood, but I did find out when he used his first cuss word.
So when I was like 8 years old, my mama was like, "Boy, go do your homework." I was like,
I is do my work.
Also on Instagram, he shared this picture of his elementary school. Okay, that's probably not his actual school, and it's hard to trust the lyrics of his song Elementary, in which he describes his formative years like this. I've been selling bricks since elementary, I've been hitting licks since elementary. But we do know that Lil Pump had been listening to rap songs before he got into freestyling, and looked up to artists like Chief Keef, Lil B, and Fredo Santana. Now we have done it before they were famous on Chief Keef, it needs an update, and we haven't done Lil B or Fredo Santana, so maybe I'll get to work on those. In fact, Lil Pump got into some serious trouble back in middle school, and it all started because of a Chief Keef song. Pump was listening to the track Don't Lie, and a girl decided to give him a hard time for it. She put gum in his hair, and his response was, well, I'll let him tell it.
I got up and I beat the out of that bro.
Now in that interview, Lil Pump continued that this isn't something he would usually do, so let's move on. When he was 13 years old, Lil Pump's cousin, Lil Ominous, introduced him to Smoke Perp. While the two eventually became co-collaborators on a ton of music, they originally bonded playing ball and doing dumb shit like breaking windows and causing trouble.
And this was smoking like a grown-ass man, but this like he was
I was like 12, bro.
He was like 13, but he was smoking like a grown-ass man, and I was like, what the
His bad boy ways got him kicked out of all the public schools in his district. He was then enrolled in an Opportunity High School but got kicked out in the 10th grade.
I didn't even get to enjoy high school. 9th grade, I went to Opportunity School. I got kicked out. 10th grade, just like fighting, dumb shit.
Now if you don't know what an Opportunity School is, it's halfway between a high school and a prison, complete with security guards, pat-downs, and metal detectors. Regardless of all that, Lil Pump still managed to start a riot, which included helicopters and canines.
I'm on that gang. It's all that here, man. You feel the gang going on.
Smoke Perp is 3 years older than Lil Pump and would eventually get him into rapping, but originally neither of them wanted to be rappers. Lil Pump had no plans on being part of the music industry at all, and Smoke Perp set his sights on working behind the scenes as a producer. He taught himself how to use FL Studios by watching YouTube tutorials and had trouble finding rappers willing to use his beats. So he started rhyming over his own beats as a means to move his music, and eventually he encouraged Lil Pump to do the same. Lil Pump would freestyle from time to time, but was hesitant to actually record. As I said, he really didn't plan on becoming a rapper, but eventually Perp convinced him to give it a shot.
And then he was like, nah bro, you better record right now. And then he just dropped the beat and I just freestyled that and I released it.
The track Pump was uploaded to SoundCloud, but the boys still weren't taking it all that seriously. They had other ways of making money, like Lil Pump's gig dealing Xanax. But then they looked online and their numbers were starting to climb. He would later tell XXL, after I released it, it had like 10,000 views. I couldn't believe it. That shit is nothing now. Then it started to go up and now it's at 6 million. Just seeing everybody with me, I was like, why not? More tracks would follow, including 30s, Elementary, Ignorant, Gang, and Drumsticks. Now I can't be totally sure in what order these tracks came out because SoundCloud has been removing a whole lot of his songs. Lil Pump has received over 5 million streams on his track Movin' before it disappeared. Broke My Wrist was also taken down. Regardless, after producing a couple tracks, Lil Pump had a growing fan base of listeners, so he would pump out more songs and got to work on his first music video. His popularity on SoundCloud earned him recognition in the underground rap scene in South Florida, and he co-headlined the No Jumper Tour in 2016. He's done a ton of shows since and has a few coming up, so if you're planning on catching him live, let me tell you about the best way to get tickets at the best price. It's called SeatGeek. Boom! This is the world's largest event ticket search engine. What they do is search all the ticket prices available on the web to find the absolute best seat at the best price. SeatGeek puts out a 1 to 100 score to let you know if you're getting a good deal or a bad one. Green means good, red means bad. Now because you guys have all been amazing subscribers, I actually got you $20 back when you use the promo code FAMOUS. So go in there, sign up now, grab some tickets, and save yourself $20. And you can use SeatGeek to find tickets for virtually any concert or sporting event, so definitely check it out. A link is down below. Now let's get back to Lil Pump. With his newfound fame, Lil Pump decided to change things up, dyeing his hair blonde and pink. Which makes me question why he got so mad at the girl who put gum in his hair. I mean, later he'd be sporting that look. Anyway, meanwhile his social media began to take off. He would entertain his fans with some pretty outlandish posts, which resulted in his Twitter account being suspended twice. Other bad news would come when some dude got a hold of his backpack.
I got his passport. But show yeah.
Hey. Yes.
Ain't this you, Pump? And that's how we know his name. But by now, Lil Pump had too much going on to care about a few haters. He was touring the country performing on stage, he got some love from XXL, making his pledge for the 2017 freshman class. He didn't make the list, but is considered a serious contender for 2018. Lil Pump released the single DeRose and Boss in early 2017, which were major hits, racking up a collective 85 million streams. The music video for DeRose was produced by Chicago-based Cole Bennett, who has also worked with the likes of Famous Dex, Lil Xan, Ski Mask the Slump God, and Trippie Redd. But his most popular video on YouTube is Lil Pump's DeRose, which was released on January 30th, 2017, and at the time of this recording, has over 74 million views. 2 months prior to his 17th birthday, Lil Pump signed a record deal with The Lights Global and Warner Brothers Records. He announced that his debut album would be released in August, but while that didn't end up happening, he did drop the song Gucci Gang that month. This would be Lil Pump's first song to break into the Billboard charts. The song would peak at number 5 on both the US rap charts and the US R&B and hip hop chart, and number 14 on the Hot 100. The song would be included on his debut project along with some of his other biggest hits to date, including Boss, Flex Like Ooh, DeRose, and Molly. The self-titled mixtape was released as a digital download on October 13, 2017 with Warner Brothers and Lights Global, and would include some pretty impressive features. We're talking Gucci Mane, Lil Yachty, Chief Keef, Rick Ross, and 2 Chainz. Smoke Perp would of course also feature on the project. The Lil Pump mixtape hit number 2 on US rap charts, 2 on R&B and hip hop chart, and number 3 on Billboard Hot 200. Lil Pump then appeared at the Rolling Loud Festival in Mountain View, California in October of 2017, and will appear on their lineup again for the December installment of the festival held in San Bernardino. Now Lil Pump has money coming in, and from what I've seen online, no shortage of chicks. He plans to becoming the biggest rapper out there, and because he doesn't sound like anyone else, he's confident he can take over the game.
Yeah, when I first started making music, we recorded in the closet with socks on the mic. Man, rough times, it was rough.
Before Lil Yachty would clock in just shy of 10 million Instagram followers, over 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and 5 million on Twitter at the time of this recording. Before Lil Yachty would catch flack early on in his career, admitting that he's not particularly familiar with Biggie or Tupac.
What you say?
Drake is better than Tupac and Biggie. They ain't got on Drake.
Before Lil Yachty would star in a Sprite commercial. Before Lil Yachty would be nominated for a Grammy and collaborate with Migos, Young Thug, Cardi B, DaBaby, Diplo, Stefflon Don, YG, Drake, and more. Now things weren't always easy for young Miles. He was often being teased, bullied, and harassed by friends, and his red haircut wasn't exactly helping. Now while attending Pebblebrook High School with Miles, he worked at a McDonald's, and in his free time he would connect with local rappers and producers. Now there was also an arrest the year before he made it where he was caught with a whole bunch of fake credit cards.
Your manager at McDonald's, what rap group was he in?
I don't know, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about. I don't remember.
After attending college for 2 months and hating it because he didn't fit in and feeling like the education system is stuck 10 years in the past.
It's a waste of time. Bunch of people running around, bumping into each other. Guy up front says 2 + 2. People in the back say 4.
Well, young Miles, he dropped out much to the dismay of his parents. Now, he always knew that he would be rich and famous, but for his future, well, he needed some kind of career. So he decided to start pouring all his energy into making music, his own kind of music. Now, Lil Yachty, he's always been a man standing out from the pack, dyeing his hair red at the age of 15. Although for this video, we dug up a whole bunch of clips of him before he blew up in a big way. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Michael McCrudden back at it again with another Before They Were Famous video, this time an updated episode of Lil Yachty. Now, if you're a frequent viewer of my content, we will be doing a bunch of updates for the next few weeks. We got to get this channel's algorithm back in tip-top shape. We also hear that if you guys smash the like button, that really helps us out as well. Now, as always, be sure to let us know who's next in the comments down below. All right, now let's get into this video. Hey, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom! Lil Yachty was born Miles Parks McCollum on August 23rd, 1997 in the west side Atlanta suburb of Mapleton, which actually looks like a pretty picturesque place. Now he has an older brother and a younger sister, Nina. Now his father Shannon was a photographer whose career included portraits and documentary work of Outkast, Dead Prez, Too Short, and others. Now his dad, he actually named him after Miles Davis. His mother Vanita has actually written a book titled Raising a Rapper, and in there she details him telling her 5 years before he made it, "I'm gonna be famous and I'm gonna be rich, just watch." Growing up, Miles' father, he would share with him all sorts of different music, everything from Coldplay to Kid Cudi. Now Lil Yachty, he started to take an interest in artists who broke away from the norm and would pave their own path. Some examples include Lil B because of his I don't give a f attitude that mesmerized young Miles, also Andre 3000's artistry, and Soulja Boy's come up story. Miles attended Pebblebrook High School and he picked himself up a part-time job working at McDonald's. Now when he wasn't working or at school, he was networking with other artists and aspiring rappers. Now being someone who always wanted to stand out from the pack, well, he dyed his hair red, and in his Rolling Stone interview, well, Lil Yachty stated, "My older brother was gangbanging, selling drugs, and I think he was kind of embarrassed of me. Kids would tease and name call him, but Miles, he was in his own lane."
Because we all in our own lane, all got something completely different going on.
Now when he graduated from high school, his mom had plans for him to go to college, but he had a different plan in mind. Now in her book, she explains, the whole time he was at school, he kept saying he didn't want to be there. He kept saying that he was supposed to be rich and famous. He wasn't supposed to be in school.
Hi, I'm Bill Collins here at the Bill Collins Show. We're here with,
Brian.
We're here with him. So we're just gonna ask you a couple questions today. So, if a fork was made of gold, would it still be considered silverware?
Yes. Is it gold plated or fully gold?
Following graduation, he made the move to New York, crashing on friends' couches, and now going by the name of Lil Yachty, a name inspired by his love for the nautical clothing line. Also his crew, they were known as the Yacht Club.
I was Yachty before Nautica. I was Yachty before I even kind of knew what Nautica was.
Okay, so why were you Yachty then? Let's start there.
I'm in a group called the Yacht Club, and they were all like a lot older than me, and I was kind of the baby, so I just called myself Lil Yachty.
While in New York, he made a list of all the coolest influencers, including Ian Connor, who took notice of Yachty's Supreme coat, and the two, they exchanged contact info. Now, New York, it can be an expensive city, even when you're couch surfing, so soon Miles, well, he ran out of money.
In terms of money, we have no money.
And when September came around, well, he decided to make his mom happy, and he attended Alabama State University. But while there, he soon discovered that pursuing a practical career and a way of life, it just wasn't for him.
I went to college and it was horrible, and then I knew music was the plan.
Where'd you go to college?
Alabama State.
And it just wasn't for you?
It was trash.
Why?
Because they were like 10 years behind, and they hated me.
Who hated you?
Everybody.
Because they didn't understand. They didn't
right?
understand
Exactly,
your persona, your character. They felt like he was probably singled out as the weirdo when he was, just different.
That's exactly.
He just had like a different artistic approach.
Now he didn't fit in with anybody, and he was getting teased by all of his schoolmates. Now it got to the point where he simply stopped leaving his room. Now it was then he started seriously writing his music, which included tracks Hell O's and Minnesota. I actually think we were the first ones to break this story when we did his original before they were famous, but there is a photo of Miles who got arrested in Palm Springs where he shopped with fraudulent credit cards. His bond was set at $11,000. The arrest went down in 2015, and I found an article in the South Florida Sentinel that reads, 2 men accused of having dozens of fake credit cards at a mall at Palm Beach Gardens. Now an employee at a hat store known as Lids, well, they told mall security that they suspected that these 2 men were using fraudulent credit cards. They then called security. When the security approached Miles, well, he handed them one of these fake credit cards. His friend's name is Clarence Logan. They found him at Nordstrom when security went up to him. This resulted in a brief chase. All of a sudden, they handcuffed him, and they all went down to Palm Beach County Jail. Now, the boys face some serious charges. We're talking fraud, forgery, and counterfeiting charges. Whatever was going on with Miles, it wasn't looking good, and from there he dropped out of school and moved back to Atlanta. Now he hooked up with producer Burberry Perry and later on K Supreme. Now together the three, they would get to work in Lil Yachty's bedroom studio, and he got his first taste of success when Drake's OVO Sound Radio, well, they aired his hit Minnesota. Now from there he got hooked up with Coach K at Quality Control Music, and he began working out of the same Atlanta studio as Migos. His big break came with his track One Night, for which he filmed a pretty incredible music video, stylized like a parody, and he got some help from his high school pals. Now when the video was done, he posted it online, and then he messaged it to all his New York contacts. Now it quickly got 100 retweets, then it got 500 retweets, then 1,000, then 10,000, then 20,000, then 100,000. All of a sudden it hit World Star, it blew up on Facebook, it got millions of retweets, millions of likes, millions of views, and then Chief Keef, he posted it and it went viral. Now today the video is sitting on a whopping 125 million views. Now with some buzz, he returned to New York City and his old friend Ian Connor, well, he introduced Lil Bo to A$AP Rocky. Now from there, he was invited to appear in Yeezy's Season 3 runway show in 2016, which was being held at Madison Square Gardens.
What did y'all say? You look around and there's so many Kanye's. I used to love Kanye.
Soon to follow was his debut mixtape Lil Boat and his huge hit Broccoli, working alongside Dram, which peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 100. Now this would also earn him a Grammy nomination. Now he also landed a spot on the 2016 XXL freshman class list alongside 21 Savage, Lil Uzi Vert, and Kodak Black.
I just got out of high school.
I ain't go to high school.
I
was in juvenile.
I went to 4 high schools.
I feel like one reason why we all got picked because we all in our own lane. All got something completely different going on.
From there, it's been nothing but success for Lil Yachty, and he's recently dropped a new album, so we decided to take another crack at his come-up story. Denzel Ray Don Curry was born on February 16th, 1995, and he grew up in Carroll City, Florida, an area also known as Zone 3, which was also home to artists like Rick Ross, Flo Rida, and Space Ghost Perp. Now, Denzel grew up with 4 older brothers and is of Bahamian and Native American descent. He grew up with both parents, his mother a Jehovah's Witness, and his father a Baptist. Now his first creative outlet he discovered at a young age when he put a pen to paper and fell in love with drawing. It's called drawing or illustrating.
I just sit there for hours on end drawing dicks. I don't know what it was. I couldn't touch the pen to a piece of paper without it drawing the shape of a penis.
Okay, I don't know exactly what he would draw, but he found out early on that his interest lied in the arts and he would create his own comic books. He was the goofy one of his brothers, with them all having a bit more of a thug vibe. They would listen to music from Gucci, Lil Wayne, and Jeezy, while Denzel had different tastes. He listened to artists like Big L, R.A., The Rugged Man, Outkast, 3 6 Mafia, and DITC. And while he was not a particular musical influence for Denzel, seeing a fellow Carroll City native, Rick Ross, make it, well, that helped Denzel realize that he could make it as well.
I remember when Ross came out, and that was the first time I seen somebody like do a music video in front of Caramore. And when I seen that, I was like, oh shit, somebody from the house is actually like on TV. That just registered in my brain like, damn, he could do it, and then I know I could do that.
At 12, his artistic talent changed from making visual art to writing down poetry, and that quickly transformed into an early foundation of a rap career where he would challenge others to rap battle. He took home many a loss, but eventually he found momentum and support as he gained more confidence. He kept freestyling, and eventually he got his hands on a $5 microphone he picked up from Walmart, so he could start recording some music. Now, seeing his passion for rap, his mother would eventually buy him a better $100 mic for his 15th birthday. Denzel initially attended the prestigious Design and Architecture Senior High School in Miami, which specialized, of course, in the arts. There he showed great potential in writing and poetry, and he received top marks.
My first 2 years of high school, I was at an art school, but I was still writing rhymes and going to poetry slams and stuff like that. And I ended up getting a 6 out of 6 on my FCAT writes. And that's like the highest score you could ever get on the writing test.
Despite his talent, something wasn't right between him and the faculty after his first 2 years. He then got expelled from the art school, with the teacher stating he showed little potential. Now, during his time at Dash, well, things were getting increasingly dangerous each and every year, with street and police violence on the rise.
He says his 17-year-old son, Trayvon Martin, was shot to death.
He walked out the house to go to the store. He was going to the store.
At 16, Denzel had witnessed a shooting inside a local McDonald's, only to run into the shooter the following day at high school. Now, things were cutting close to home. Luckily, he had his older brother Trayon, who had found his own niche in the area as a backyard no-holds-barred bare-knuckle brawler. And you may have seen him in the documentary Dog Fight.
Ready? Right here, right now, Mike. Ready? Let's go.
For his junior and senior years, Denzel attended Miami Carroll City Senior High School, and during this time, he quit doing other activities like martial arts to focus on his music. Then we got to work on his first mixtape, King Remembered Underground Tape, 1991-1995, which he posted online when he was in the 11th grade. Followed soon after by King of the Mischievous South Volume 1 and Strictly for My Raiders. His work was shared online and quickly caught the attention of Space Ghost Perp, and a simple online chat resulted in Denzel being made a member of the Raider clan. Now, Denzel started to build his following online via YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. His feature on Little Ugly Mane's Twistin' catapulted him into the spotlight after being placed on Mentor Space Ghost Perp's God of Black EP, and later being featured on BBC Radio overseas.
With the curry, just know it's a fatality, flawless victory, killing you lyrically.
All of a sudden, the teenager found himself performing at Coachella with his Raider Clan family, with his parents' permission, of course. More mixtapes would follow, including Mental Vendetta with Lofty 305 and Greatest Hits Volume 1 and 2 with Raider Clan. In the 12th grade, he began putting together his debut studio album, Nostalgic 64, while, well, he was still in school.
So at what point did you start trying?
Oh, when I got kicked out.
Really? So that was, it did work in that sense. It got you going.
Yeah, when I got kicked out, I was just like, you know what? I have something to prove. And I gotta do this because this is something I really want to do.
Now, some shit went down with Raider Clan, and Denzel decided to move forward on Nostalgic 64 on his own. Now, after graduating high school, he released the album on September 3rd, 2013. The album's lead single, Threats, well, it was featured on MTV Rap Fix. His career was on the rise, then tragedy struck on February 27, 2014, when his brother Trayon died of cardiac arrest after being tasered, pepper sprayed, and taken into custody by Chilean police.
Hialeah police tased my brother, and then they couldn't be able to save him in the hospital. It pierced his bowels, and his bowels poisoned his body, and he ended up dying of cardiac arrest, and that's how he died.
His brother had always been a big influence on Denzel's upbringing. His brother had never gotten an education and would push his little bros to do so. He'd even drag them to church from time to time. Now, needless to say, his brother's passing marked a dark and depressing time for Denzel, but he pushed forward with his music. He attempted to get his name in the XXL freshman class for 2014 and 2015. He put out his singles Zone 3 and Ice Age and collaborated with Denario Ferreira, S. Brady, Dillian Cooper, Young Simi, and Mike DC, amongst others, while growing his audience. He released his first EP, 32 Zell Planet Shrooms, in 2015, and his second studio album, Imperial, would follow on March 9, 2016. The first single, Naughty Head, was a huge success, and that year Denzel Curry was picked to be part of the 2016 XXL freshman class. Finally! So what's next for Denzel Curry? Well, we'll get to that in just a second, but for now, it looks like it's getting a little smoky out there. You've all heard of Candy Pens, right? Well, if the name doesn't ring a bell, I got a good feeling you've seen them before. Candy Pens was named Best Vaporizer of 2018 by High Times due to its combination of popular technology and flashy design. And Candy Pens, well, they're quickly becoming the go-to choice for vaping in the hip-hop and rap community. They've got co-signs from DJ Khaled, Fatboy SSE, Young M.A., Amber Rose, and A$AP Rocky. In fact, A$AP has his own line called the Flacco Jody Collection, and Amber Rose, she has billboards all over Los Angeles because she's promoting her own signature line. Now, Candy Pens are for those 18 years and older, and seeing as I'm their official YouTube ambassador, well, they've given me the ability to give you 25% off your entire order during checkout. There is a link down below. Use the promo code BTWF25. Now let's get back into Denzel Curry. In 2017, Denzel would also collaborate with the likes of Juicy J and Wiz Khalifa on the track Too Many. He would also release a series of demo tracks on his SoundCloud beginning in May of 2017, when he dropped Hate Government. He would follow this with Equalizer and Zeltron 6 Billion featuring Lil Ugly Mane. All of these tracks, as well as Bloodshed and Heartless, would appear in his EP 13, released on June 26. As for the name of the EP, well, Denzel explained the meaning in a press release. The ideology behind 13, the number, is actually the representation of B, and B is the letter beginning of the word black. Now, 13 is seen as an unfortunate and unlucky number due to superstition that's plagued society for generations. I'm considered misfortune due to the fact that I'm not only a black person, but I've always felt that my heart and soul was black due to certain circumstances in life that I have yet to get over, and you don't have to be African American to feel that way. 13 is all around us. For example, 13 is a difficult age for most because it's our path to adulthood. Jesus and 12 disciples make 13 according to Big Rube. And lastly, the 13th floor was always seen as something to be afraid of worldwide. 13 is the part of an unfortunate, distorted life. Denzel would use the number 13 again to represent the B in the title of his third studio album, Taboo, which will be released on July 27th of 2018. So, like a couple days ago. Now, the album featured 13 songs, including singles Sumo, Perks, and Clout Cobain. As for the rest of the story, well, we'll have to wait and see because this is before they're famous.